lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Goes to the Movies Live. I'm your host, Shaun. With me, as always, is my adopted son, Jeremy. And tonight, returning once again into the fold, into the Goes to the Movie Live zone, is Dan Profitt. What's up, Dan?
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Oh boy! So it's only a few weeks ago that we convened to talk about the Ghostbusters, the Ninja Turtles. We talked about the Ninja Turtles for a marathon 4-hour discussion, and we barely scratched the surface. Honestly, there is going to have to be a Turtles 2 update. Oh, there he goes, Casey Jones. He's always with us. Always with us. So how's it going, guys? How have you been since the Turtles incident?
Oh, you know, go ahead.
I'm just a guest here. You take the reins.
Oh yeah, well, I'm you know, just Baltimore bridges are burning down, and yeah, my neck of the woods are looking great, looking very uplifting.
You guys have gotten didn't you guys? I mean, Dan also. You guys got a bunch of snow. Infrastructure is collapsing. Immigration run amok. Get out of there. That's all I gotta say. That's what I tell people. Anybody I know that's up there, I'm like, what are you doing? It's time to go. It's time to get going.
When I was a kid, we had a song making fun of the British about how their stupid bridge collapsed. And now look at it.
Now look at us. Was it a cyber attack? Like, I don't know. Okay, all I know is that the people that are responsible are definitely white people, as I was told by the mayor of Baltimore. That's the issue. And also the only people that I've heard about, like, you know, because some people died. The only people I've heard about dying, apparently there were 6 immigrants that passed away. So they used that event to talk to people about the importance of immigration. Look, immigrants do all the jobs nobody wants to do, and now they're dead. You should be thankful, because that could have been American citizens. You know what I mean?
That could have been your husband being totally incompetent on the high seas.
I mean, listen. And how embarrassing would that have been? They drove into a fucking bridge.
Yeah, one time on a job, I kind of took like a turn that in some of these little farms, they have these makeshift alleyways in between barns and shit and panels and pens. It's extremely easy to misjudge a turn in those spaces. And one time I kind of ripped the bumper off the front of my truck a little bit, and we just kind of got it back on with zip ties, and you can't even tell that it ever happened.
Yeah.
I was so fucking embarrassed the whole day that happened, because it happened at the beginning of the slaughter. So I had it in the back of my mind all day.
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
This is how you're going to be judged for everything you do.
I can't imagine fucking driving my Tacoma into a bridge and just fucking collapsing the whole thing, dude. That would ruin my whole year.
I mean, can you imagine the guy, like, you know, in the ship just being like, whoops.
And like that.
Who do we call, Frank?
Yeah, right. Yeah. That period of time in between when he realizes the inevitable, and then he's got to watch it happen in front of him.
For 25 minutes or however long it ended up actually taking for them to hit the bridge. Like, you see, if you watch the video, there's like the real time one, which I think is like, I think it's like 5 or 6 minutes, but people have sped it up. But my goodness, it's what a mess.
When I first saw that, go ahead, Jimmy.
Oh yeah, I was gonna briefly say, like, it's like the Titanic all over. They see the iceberg well ahead of time, and it's just like, what's going on here?
What is that thing?
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, go Dan.
Well, the picture that I saw of it first was kind of like sepia toned, because I guess they had taken it right at dawn or dusk or whenever it had happened. Yeah. I guess it happened at dawn.
Oh, it was the city lights. It was like 1:30 in the morning.
So, right. So the lights were casting this sort of purple glow in the water. Mm-hmm. and it came up on a feed, and I was like, I thought it was like a history thing. I was like, Jesus, when did that happen? Like, what? Because of the coloring, it made it look sepia.
No,
So
you
like
make it look like old footage. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, Jesus, that's kind of like a weird event in American history that I never learned about. And then it was like posted 3 hours ago. I was like, whoa, what the fuck?
Hey, listen, they need jobs too. Trembling says more like Josie and the Cat Boys. You know it, brother.
Speaking of which, I have an announcement to make. My kitten just had 5 kittens, baby.
Oh, damn.
Congrats.
Keep
Congrats.
them. I don't want any of them.
Well,
they're trying to get me there. I'm in a high stakes pressure situation in my house where they're like, we need a second pet. I'm like, we do not. We don't. It took me 10 years to get rid of the last 2.
Well, these are barn cats, so their job is to live in a barn and catch mice.
Well, that's good. At least they have utility.
Yeah, I'm going to take Susie home, and one of them, Caitlin, wants a kitten that she can kind of bond with. So Susie's going to live down here in the bunker, I think, and the other cat's going to be the indoor-outdoor cat that like hunts the rodents. Susie's she's not a hunter. She's kind of I kill a mouse and then nap for 3 days kind of thing.
She's more like a Tara Reid of kittens.
Yeah, she's a Tara Reid, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, Susie's more like a Rosario Dawson. She's a go-getter. Gets it done. Doesn't mind being in the basement. Just happy to be there.
I am terrified now that I know that Jeremy actually met Rosario Dawson. I'm terrified that he's going to meet her again, and Rosario Dawson's going to find out about the NECA King. I'm terrified that the first thing Jeremy's going to do is when he meets her is whip out his phone and be like, look at this fucking jackass. And they're going to make fun of me for 20 minutes. And that's all she's ever going to know about me. So now I'm shaking in my boots.
I think I shared it. Did I share it in our group chat, the picture? So there's a picture of Dan on a slaughter with just him there with his rifle and his butcher gear. And then I did like a background removal and like put it next to a picture of Josie and the Pussycats.
Well,
he's like an honorary member. Like, that's how much he loves them.
A lot of people don't know that I actually dated Rachel Lee Cook for 6 to 8 months after this movie came out in 2001. I was a super fan of this movie in 2001, guys. People talk about, later on it became a cult classic when people kind of like got on board with the humor. Where were you in 2001, people?
Exactly. If it was for them, I mean, Rachel Lee Cook might have had a different career, but we're going to get to that, everybody. We're going to get to that. Trembling's in the chat. It says Rosario with her big saucers of milk. Listen, the movie Alexander really did something for me, I think that might be one of the only. She's only been topless a few times. One of them is definitely in Oliver Stone's Alexander. I'm not sure which cut. There's like 7 cuts of that movie, but
she showed Badge in like a Danny Boyle movie. I found
the one with James McAvoy.
Link that?
Yeah,
have a link.
Have a link to that. Hey guys, you guys ever hear this guy, Mr. Skin? Real interesting fella. He runs a database.
What is it like? Is it what's it called? Like Celebrity Armageddon or something?
No, there's one that's called. Yeah, let me just out ourselves here. There's Celebrity Jihad.
Okay, that's it.
Celebrity Jihad is like where they get like when they steal shit from the cloud. Like that goes, or if there's like the facial swap stuff. Yeah, that's not cool at all, dude. That's a violation of their integrity, their sanctity, and it's disgusting.
But if you showed Vag in a Sonnenberg film, I should be able to spank to that free.
And that's where you're going to want to head over to Mr. Skin. And you could just look up Rosario Dawson, and every nude scene she's done in a movie will just come up.
Well, I already told you guys, I didn't even get past the silver dress in the 25th hour. I didn't even get past it. I still haven't gotten past that level. That will beat me every single time. The way she's jiggling, get out of here.
I mean, dude, these things can only get so swole, boys, before they just release on their own. It's called a wet dream. I had no idea. I woke up. I was like, Mom, what's happening to me? Treming says, Tara Reid milk has cigarette butts and crushed pills in it. Definitely now. Definitely now.
Dude, you've seen the interviews of her now. She's got the raspy voice. She looks like a fucking lot lizard. She sounds like one too.
She sounds like my aunts. Like
she sounds
like my Massachusetts aunts.
Hi guys, how you doing? Do you need any butterscotch candies?
Those Sharknado movies did a number on her, I think, at that point.
Really, a number on her soul, her being, everything.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this about her. At least she's the only one of the Pussycats that at this point has the dignity to be not selling her signature for like $60.
Yeah, good for
Which-
you, Terry. Integrity.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to actually physically kidnap her to get her to sign my LP. So it's gonna be tough.
Listen, this doesn't have to be a big deal. Just sign it and I'll go. Jesus.
Yeah, just driving around LA in a van. It's like one of those rental vans that has the cage in the back. You know what I mean? And I just throw an ink pen in there with her and the LP sleeve, and like, bitch, you will never get out of this van if you don't fucking sign this. Like, personalize it. Personalize it.
You're like fucking what's his name from Death Proof?
Yes.
Oh my God, one of my favorite
Russell.
actors. Kurt Russell. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, too bad you didn't say left.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it would have been a half hour until you figure that you weren't going to sign this LP, but you are.
Should have signed it back at the bar. I'm just saying. But anyways, so what has everybody been watching? Jeremy, what have you been watching? Anything since the last time we've seen? I got a few movies we're going to talk about. I know Dan and I have seen the same movie. Jeremy and I have seen one of the same movie. What you got, Jeremy?
Yeah, Roadhouse, very recently on Amazon. Everybody's favorite Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal filling the
Patrick Swayze part. Yeah.
And,
so what did you think of it? What did you think of it? Because I know people are out there, and there's some real strange opinions about this movie. But
okay, so it's two quick things. One, I don't think I've ever seen Conor McGregor act in anything before, but he does carry such a screen presence that I have not seen in a movie in quite some while, with just so much smiles and action.
Sure,
that I thought was kind of refreshing. But two, also, like, Doug Liman's kind of like one of these underrated directors as well, who just picks the weirdest projects right now, since doing like Bourne Identity.
Well, I think Doug Liman, he's just like the proto kind of studio guy. Like, he knows how to like wield these big productions. He knows how to work with big stars. And that's kind of what he gravitates for, it seems like productions that have a big star that need to be wrangled. Like you hired Doug Liman when you're like, well, we don't really have a script. He's like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
But he's definitely, like, since the movie American Made with Tom Cruise, like, he definitely has like a sense of style with, like, he loves the floating camera. Like, he wants, like, if people are not doing things in a scene or if they're not being blocked correctly, he will just like float with them. And he will just kind of like take it. He's got this documentary style to him.
He's trying to create a sense of like immediacy, really kind of bring you into the moment. I feel like that's what he would say. So I assume that you liked it then.
I liked it fine. I didn't think it was great by any means, but it was fine. It was good. I probably, I mean, I guess the whole controversy with it not being released to theaters immediately, like just going straight to Amazon, probably like rubbed some feathers for some people, but
yeah,
I mean, I don't care about this particular movie. So
no, I don't care either. I mean, it just seems like it was weird that they decided to do that. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal is like not nobody, and he does put butts in seats. Roadhouse is a very popular movie from the late 80s. It has name recognition. I think people would have went to go see Roadhouse in the theater, honestly. Especially if, like, I had no idea Conor McGregor was even in the movie until I sat down and watched it. I had no idea. I didn't know anything about this. I'm not even a big Roadhouse fan, honestly.
Well,
so
have you seen the interview where Conor McGregor is like tweaking out next to Jake Gyllenhaal? 72 films. 72 films.
This guy,
He's basically playing himself. Like, he's not doing like a character bit.
He's definitely playing a version of himself. I mean, the thing I think what makes Conor McGregor work in that movie is because he introduces an unpredictable element to the film, which the movie, surprisingly enough, doesn't really have. It's, to me, I felt like, I got to be honest, like, I was bored to fucking death watching this movie. I was just like, Jake Gyllenhaal, for me, was just like a real phoned-in performance. And I was watching it and I was just like, I understand what they're trying to communicate, and watching them fail. Like, Doug Liman is like looking dead into the camera and he's like, isn't this crazy, guys? Isn't this wild stuff? Because like, the old movie is not good, but it has a lot of texture. It actually has a lot of grit. Like, it's actually kind of a brutal movie in a weird way. in its own weird way. This movie felt so generic and so like safe that so when Conor McGregor shows up and just acts crazy, you're like, oh wow, this is something happened. At least that was kind of my feeling on it. But
Can I spoil the ending for Profitt here?
yeah,
Or
you can.
Is that okay?
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Okay. Okay. So, I wanted him to get the girl at the end, and I don't know why they just didn't even go through with that. Like the whole
Because you're
point
not
was-
allowed to.
Yeah. Well. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, well, they
Summed
have
up my point.
they have a romance subplot that goes
Yeah.
nowhere. They guess they become friends. They come,
Right.
but because he's like a nice guy. Everybody likes him. He's best friends with the teenage girl, and also his Dalton is this kind of he's like a kind of non-character. Like he doesn't even feel like he really grows or changes or anything. I mean, maybe I just started checking out of the movie mentally and I missed some things. This is 100% a possibility. Yeah, but I just didn't. There was no character that I gravitated towards or like glommed onto, and I just thought the plot was really weak. I mean, it didn't have to be anything crazy or complicated. It's fucking Roadhouse. Like,
Yeah.
you just a rich businessman wants the Roadhouse to close for some reason. You're like, okay, he wants the property, he wants the land. I will say though the final fight between Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor was a highlight of the movie though. It's pretty good.
Fun. Yeah.
It should have been crazier though. Like I just don't understand why they just weren't unhinged. Why weren't there like topless women all over the place? Why weren't there like it felt so safe. Like the bar brawls are like it's a rated R movie and it's completely bloodless for the most part. It's crazy. I don't know.
Because this is 2024. We can't be doing that kind of shenanigans anymore.
Well, I just wish that they would just went for it. Just go for it. Like if you're going to do something that's supposed to be kind of aping this cult classic movie that's only known for its transgressive qualities. Like it's not known for being like a great movie or anything. People like it because it's a little wild, It's a little crazy.
Yeah, because it's like Roadhouse, which I have not seen and I will never fucking see. And I didn't really know there was a remake of it until just now, and I'll never see that one either. But Roadhouse is a movie that's known for having its dick out.
Yes,
and
exactly.
as you pointed out, Shaun, you're no longer allowed to have your dick out in a movie unless it's being like sucked by another guy. So it just can't. So it's like let's do Roadhouse but neutered.
Yeah, and it completely defeats the purpose of it. Like, there's no reason for this to exist, and that was kind of my big takeaway. Like, if you're not going to go for it, then don't do it. Like he's this toughest guy. Everybody's afraid of him. He's wild. He gets stabbed and doesn't even care. But he does it in such a passive way that it never registers. He barely registers as a badass.
Well,
It's very disappointing.
That speaks to the poster designs too. Like Patrick Swayze in the original poster, he's like leaning up against the Roadhouse.
Yeah.
And then in this modern one, he's just slouched back and just like showing off a little bit. And
Yeah.
it's like it's not the same effect,
It's not the same type of vibe, I'll say. I mean, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of generic. I've liked some Doug Liman movies in the past. Like I really liked the one he did with Tom Cruise a few years ago. Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat. Like that's surprising. It's not the greatest movie ever made or anything, but it's like a good turn your brain off sci-fi action movie. That's got Emily Blunt's nice butt.
And I always love movies when they put them out and then they put them out with another title that's retarded. You know what I mean?
I know
like when they did the Harley Quinn movie and did like this big retarded thing.
Yeah.
And then put it out again, and we're just like, I guess we'll just call it Harley Quinn now because nobody can even say the retarded thing.
Yeah, because that's way too long. It's like Harley, or it's the Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn, like the emancipation of the fearless Harley Quinzel.
Of one.
Yes,
Harley
yes.
Quinzel. Like they tried to do like a quip. They tried to make it a thing that Harley would say, but your average Joe doesn't want to fucking deliver a line like Arlene Sorkin when he's ordering a movie ticket.
Exactly.
So just call it Harley Quinn.
When I went and bought tickets for that Harley Quinn movie, I said 2 tickets for the Harley Quinn movie. I didn't say the whole thing. I said,
Mr. J, give me 2 tickets for Harley Quinn and the emancipation of one Harley Quinn.
please, good ma'am. Aeneas Tinker says Gyllenhaal peaked in Bubble Boy. Now I've heard this. I've heard this this theory. Bubble Boy is great, actually. That's actually I would like to revisit Bubble Boy. I haven't seen it in 15 years, but
it's been a long time.
That was Pauly Shore.
Yeah.
No, that's Biodome.
God damn it, Shaun, I knew.
Which was another actually favorite of mine as a kid.
And that, if you want to talk about things that we've seen recently, the Pauly Shore short film of Richard Slimmons.
Dude, I never watched it because we were supposed to do it on here, and then we never did it, so I just never ended up watching it. But is it funny?
It's great. It's a great 10 minutes, and Pauly Shore not only like nails Richard Simmons, but he also doesn't bust his balls and make a farce of him either.
Yeah, he tries to play him like a real person. He didn't Eddie Murphy him. Eddie Murphy. Remember the Nutty Professor? Holy shit! You remember that movie?
God. Actually, you know what? It's funny. It's funny you mentioned that because I was putting on, I think, Ghostbusters for Theo because that's another thing I've been watching a lot of is the Ghostbusters 1 and 2 discs that we have. But you know those Universal ads that come up at the beginning of some movies? Oh no, it was at the beginning of Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah.
Where that goes doom 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 doom, and it has like that dramatic doom doom, and then it'll show like Jaws and Schindler's List.
100 years of Universal.
Yeah. The Nutty Professor 2. This would have had like it was pushing the Nutty Professor 2 along with like Jaws and like some Nick Cage movie that I can't remember.
The Clumps.
Yeah, it's just like with the background music playing, like the tone is so wrong when they're showing the Nutty Professor bits.
Well, they want to show you the breadth of Universal's catalog,
Yeah, I mean,
we got it all.
The history of cinema, Shaun.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, nowadays Nicole Kidman's just watching it all for an AMC ad and making it work out.
Yeah, that was. I remember when that became a meme. The Nicole Kidman intro at the AMC theaters. Leave Nicole alone. Come on, she's just trying to enjoy the movies. She just wants you to also experience the magic of the theater. This next movie we're going to talk about very briefly. Immaculate. I saw the new Sydney Sweeney movie, the one where she's the nun that gets pregnant. And so guess what, guys? It's a giant allegory about abortion and women's bodily autonomy and how men and institutions in the church only care when they're inside of you, but they have no thought to what happens afterwards, and you should be able to bash that baby to death with a rock.
Fucking men.
Kind of. It is kind of fucking men, the movie. It's like,
that's what I used to call it when Caitlin used to watch The Handmaid's Tale. I'd call it fucking men. and I'd do the TV voice. I'd be like, on the last episode of fucking men.
It's very accurate. It's very, very much one of those type of movies, one of those types of stories. Like, it's got all of like the aesthetic and the architecture of like one of these like A24 styled horror movies. I think this one is from Neon, the old Alamo label.
Yeah.
I was pretty disappointed in it. I mean, I didn't expect anything. I had like no expectations for it. I watched it completely on a whim and was still kind of disappointed. I'm just kind of bored. Like, I understand, like, not every horror movie in current time needs to be about female trauma. Like, it's every fucking horror movie. It's like a bunch of these middle-aged soy male directors helping women rationalize why they should let them just dump in them constantly. And it's a little bit of an exhausting thing. I'm kind of over it at this point, Are you gonna go see it, Jeremy? I feel like that's a movie you would probably go see.
I'm still gonna go see. I had a coworker softly recommended, thinking that like the climax was actually worth it, at least from a visual level. But
I think aesthetically, it has like the pieces that you're looking for. Totally does.
But no, I mean, I'm a little bit like you. I'm kind of sick of this whole narrative with every single A24 Neon a Blumhouse movie that comes out now, where it's just
after like The Invisible Woman and Midsommar. Like, I'm good. Like, I get it, guys. We get it.
Yeah. Move on to the next thing. Yeah.
I mean, I like both of those movies I just mentioned. Like, I actually like those movies. I think The Invisible Woman is actually pretty good, or The Invisible Man rather is pretty
Invisible
good.
Man.
Yeah. It's like Yeah, I'm sorry.
You're calling it that because we're so focused on Elizabeth
These
Moss
ladies,
in that movie.
These ladies, and they're out of control. Yeah, I
Right.
mean, it's like the abused white woman fantasy. It is, but it's very well done. It's very well done, and it also has kind of a morally ambiguous ending, which I kind of appreciated considering like the full context of the story.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I think Profitt's having a little bit of trouble. So let's talk about Late Night with the Devil. I saw Late Night with the Devil Tuesday night. It has been kind of embroiled in some controversy. The basic conceit of the film is that this is like a lost master tape from a late night show from the 70s where they did like an exorcism. They had like a possession thing happening during their programming. And this is like a long lost tape. And just briefly, I'll just say what I thought about it. I thought it was okay. Like, it's a Shudder release. It's going to be released on Shudder. I would wait until it's on Shudder. Like, it has some really great elements to it, but unfortunately, they don't trust the format. So they picked that format to be like, okay, we're going to recreate a 1970s like Johnny Carson type show, but they constantly cut away to like impossible angles and stuff. That's very distracting. And once you realize they're doing that, like adding cinematic flourishes where they don't belong, it kind of just pulls you out of the movie, and it just kind of starts falling apart. But I would say, but the performances are generally pretty good, and I like what it's trying to do. I just don't think it totally got there, but it was fun. But it was embroiled in some controversy. We've talked about this in the past on the show. Some AI generated images were used as kind of like commercial bumpers. You know, when you come in and out of a commercial break on one of these shows, they'd have like an image come up, fade back into the show, or fade out of the show. And they used AI to build the kind of the base image, and then they had their artists go in and manipulate it and augment it. And this made Twitter, or X, the film Twitter, go crazy, and they were like, people wanted to boycott the movie. This movie that was made for like $10, a true labor of love, they just couldn't have it because they used 2 AI images that they also augmented. It's not even like they just used AI, but people were losing their fucking minds. This actually ended up why I went to go see it, because I was like, fuck those people. Fuck those people. I'll buy a ticket to that movie. Fuck you. But anyways. But Jeremy, what would you I know you haven't seen the movie yet, but you saw what was going on Twitter.
Yeah, just completely bonkers nonsense. I'm not like the biggest fan of AI myself. I think it works really well for concept and world building and things like that. But
Sure.
you know, this is a film. It's like specifically this film. This was made like a few years back. Like this has been long in the making.
Mm-hmm.
How much can you really like? I don't know. Push so much against like a little bit of AI tinkering at the last minute in post production, and then also not acknowledge just like the talent involved that was already there on set, on production, and
Yeah.
like where's the disconnect there? You know,
And then yell at you for thinking Star Wars is stupid now because you're a racist misogynist. Like it's the
Yeah.
same fucking people. You're like, what is wrong with you people? Anyways.
yeah. Or I was gonna say even that, and then like the people that say like we're gonna boycott this film, but then we're also going to stream it or pirate it like easily
Yeah, no, they don't buy movie tickets, those people.
no.
They don't buy movie tickets.
Yeah.
They just complain. That's what they like
Right.
to do. They look for attention, and it's their little control methods they have. They're like, oh, let's see if we can get somebody to apologize to us and grovel to us and then not accept their apologies, which is exactly what ended up happening.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm sorry, Dan.
They
what were you
have
trying
to
say?
no. They have to come to accept. I feel like the guy on television in Dawn of the Dead, the original one, he's like the last guy on TV, and he's drunk, and he's going, logic, logic, logic. I said this in 2020 on fucking 1000 RPM, one of the original episodes of 1000 RPM. It's actually called James Bond for fucking ever. And it's about how AI is going to be the new creative platform. And we're not going to have a new James Bond every 5 years played by a new actor. There's going to be James Bond for fucking ever. They're going to have a likeness that is copyrighted, trademarked, That's James Bond. It's going to be an 85-pound Pakistani woman, and it's going to be James Bond for fucking ever. And I told these people 4 years ago, and they didn't listen to me. This is a pattern that I'm seeing in my life. And now these fucking Hollywood nerds, like all these people who love properties, they're so in love with it, and they don't want to see it change. It's the same with art forms. I hate AI too, but we're going to have to ride it out. It's here.
Yeah,
People are
it's
going to use it. We have to, in the same way that when a new instrument comes out, or when people started using turntables and synthesizers and
it's a
samplers
tool.
and shit.
It's a tool.
Yeah, it becomes a tool. You use the tool. Have you seen some of the retarded shit that AI puts out? I sent you the Jesse Lee Peterson picture. I was trying to get a picture of Jesse Lee Peterson opening up a zoo box, and I said, print a picture or paint a picture of Jesse Lee Peterson opening up a zebra pattern box, and it was the most grotesque human hand of like an 80-year-old black man. It looked like he was all ashy and had just put cream on, and it was like sensually dipping his fingers into this zebra colored box, and I was like, I just deleted the app off my phone.
Like no more of this evil. Take this evil vision from my sight.
But then there are people who are like, what if Lord of the Rings was filmed in 1976 and it looks fucking dope,
and it looks cool as fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, it's a tool. Like we're going to be going through a period of time like when CGI became the big thing, and every big Hollywood movie was just stuffed unnecessarily with like CGI augmentation or complete image where everything looks weird and rubbery and it doesn't hold up today, and it makes it it takes away its timeless possibilities. Movies from that period of time, the early 2000s, feel very much like movies from the early 2000s, and I think we're going to have the same thing with AI. You're going to have people that just don't know how to use it or overuse it, over-rely on it. They're going to put out some mediocre stuff, and it will come back around at some point, because I think people are going to miss that human touch. Although, dude, I don't know, man. Now that I've said that, I was thinking about it for a second. I'm just like, people don't care about quality anymore. They really don't. They just want something to just like it's just in front of their face. And like as Dan was saying about the James Bond for fucking ever, there already have been experiments like that. They did that with Seinfeld. They did that with Family Guy, where they had an AI just constantly generate new Seinfeld episodes. New Family Guy episodes. It was on Twitch, and the channel ended up getting banned because they got too weird and inappropriate. But so they fed a learning computer just like every episode of Family Guy, every episode of Seinfeld, and then it just saw what it came up with, and they had like kind of rudimentary, crude animations standing in for the characters, but it was watchable. Yeah, and a lot of people watched it, and I don't think we're too far off from something like that actually being a real thing, at least on streaming channels,
right?
Like on the internet, 100%. Because content is king. You just have to put content out. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's good. There just must be content. Well, and the AI overlords are definitely gonna guarantee that.
Yeah. Well, like you both have been saying, like it's here to stay, and it's about just being able to know how to use it and not be used by it. This kind of bleeds right back into just like my last bit of controversy on Twitter months back, where I'm just like, that was like the last time where I'm like, this is the last time I'm ever giving a stance on anything, and then I'm just gonna say my piece and move on. But like, just like if you're any sort of artist, and if you personally believe that like this is not right, then act on it and move on and be that person, and not like give in to just all the contraptions of other people that are not giving into what
I can understand being like an up and coming person working in the industry and being wary of it. Right. I get it, right? Because if a studio can figure out that it doesn't need to pay writers and it doesn't need to pay artists and it doesn't need to do all that stuff, they will totally do that. And honestly, most of these people would probably celebrate it. Like if they allowed Marvel to just like, if they allowed AI just to like do all of the set pieces, people would probably defend it. I guarantee you that same crowd of assholes will defend it. I don't know when it became cool to be like a studio bootlicker, but it did. I don't know. I don't get it.
it kind of sprung on all of us by surprise, but
Yeah. Well, Dan had to drop out because the next thing we're going to talk about is Dan was supposed to be here for this.
he didn't want to talk about the next one.
Yeah, he's not ready for it.
Yeah.
Oh, he's back. There he is. At the stage. There he is. All right, so the last movie we're going to talk about in this, what we've been watching recently, is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I know that I've seen it, and I know that Dan has seen it. I'm going to give Dan the floor if he can.
And I've seen the trailer. That's it.
You've seen the trailer.
And the Red Letter Media review. Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess you've kind of seen the movie. Yeah, say again?
Can you hear me, and am I echoing?
No, I can hear you good. You're fine.
Okay. What was the question? Because I just experienced a minute and a half.
Oh, now you're... Hold on. Talk again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay. We're going into Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I figured I'd let you, since your internet's working right now, why don't you go into what you thought of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire?
Oh, yeah. I think your opinion's pretty gay.
Oh, really?
We're on YouTube?
It doesn't matter. It's fine. Nobody cares.
You're about right on with what you said about it. And my experience of it was washed in nostalgia and glee because I was going to a theater that I had seen many a classic film in, and is one of the most beautiful theaters that I've ever been in, and that I'm so grateful to have access to, which is the Latches in Brattleboro. And I was there with my 4-year-old son, and this was his first indoor movie experience.
Hell yeah.
First big screen experience was at the drive-in, and I'm trying to retrain him because he keeps calling this theater the drive-in. We're walking on my last day off, and he was saying, Mama, look, the drive-in that we went to see Ghostbusters. I'm like, buddy, but you get
yeah.
But my experience was just amazing because it was that. And he was entranced. He loved it. He actually likes Ghostbusters Afterlife, and he likes Phoebe.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's just to him.
And then we lost Dan.
No, I think especially if they've been at home watching Ghostbusters stuff or the real Ghostbusters, there's a lot that pulls from that, especially in Frozen Empire, actually. Frozen Empire, I think people are kind of spot on. It's something that I didn't really register with me when I saw it, is that it is very much feels like an episode of the real Ghostbusters. It's got kind of a villain of the week type villain. It's kookier. It's a little bit more of an actual adventure comedy, I guess, or at least it feels a little bit more like a real Ghostbusters movie, for lack of a better way to put it. I thought it was way more in line with like what the original Ghostbusters was than say Afterlife was. And I didn't think Afterlife was like an awful movie. I just thought it was a weird movie because it's like made for people our age to take our kids to. Like that's what it's made for. Because like the idea that the Ghostbusters is some sort of nostalgic, whimsical like experience, it's like not really. Like it's like a working class buddy comedy about guys that exterminate ghosts instead of bugs. Like that's kind of the premise, you know? But I'm sorry, Dan. So the last thing we heard you say was that you were with your son in the theater, and that was kind of part of the magic for it. It was just like experiencing it with him.
Yeah, it was all popcorn, and he liked the villain. He loves spooky, scary stuff, and that's his kind of he loved the demon monster. When he pulled the door off, he was fixated on when he was pulling doors off of buildings. Okay?
Nice.
That is the level of enjoyment that one should be taking in at a Ghostbusters movie. And I want to actually go back and listen. I know that the Answer the Call movie is probably dog shit. I've never actually wasted my time to watch it. I've watched the Red Letter Media Mr. Plinkett several times.
Yeah.
But, I think that my 4-year-old might like it, but also I don't want him watching queef jokes. God damn it. Why do you spoil everything for these pussies?
These women are out of control. Okay.
But it was fun. The actors actually they wanted to, they felt like they wanted to be, well, Dan Aykroyd obviously wanted to be there.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
he's just happy to have paranormal shit in front of people in the mainstream.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, they've been trying to do a Ghostbusters, sequels since the 90s.
I'm watching like 40-year-old adults being like, oh, the guy in the bronze fire master suit, like, was so stupid. And then the lesbian ghost didn't have chemistry with a 12-year-old, and like fucking, it was just like didn't exceed my expectations. And like, fuck up, turn your brain off for an hour and 40 minutes. Eat the eat the fucking popcorn.
I will say,
about it.
it's like a better movie than a lot of the mainstream stuff that's been coming out, especially if you have kids. Like if you have a young kid, like it's a fun movie to take a kid to. 100%. I mean, my son is a giant Ghostbusters like freak, maniac for years. And all the way up through Afterlife, but for some reason Frozen Empire, like he could not have cared less. I was like kind of weird. I was like, why don't you care? I had to talk to him about. I had to convince him to go see it. Like I was like, really? You don't want to go see the Ghostbusters? Like,
you get to an age where he's too cool.
Well, now, yeah, we're all about Godzilla X Kong. Like, that's happening tomorrow.
Yeah, he knows the esoteric differences between the eras of Godzilla, and like basically what he didn't want to say to you, but what he was thinking was, Dad, Ghostbusters is a little gay. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not a child anymore. I'm 6 years old, for Christ's sakes.
Still a child, and he's like, and he got bored as hell in the middle with the Ghost Institute stuff, which it was a boring middle part of the movie.
Listen, the movie is stuffed with characters that don't need to be there. I don't even understand, why is Patton Oswalt in that movie? Why didn't Dan Aykroyd give that exposition? Like, there's just things like that where I'm like, why? Like, I guess we're helping out our friends, getting them a fucking big payday. Is that what we're doing? Like, what is it? Why do they need to be there? And I will say, I really loved Bill Murray in this because that guy couldn't have cared less.
One of the laughs of the movie for me, and I did actually get like 3 or 4 chuckles out of this movie, was when he walks into the Ghostbusters firehouse and then just immediately walks over to a fuse box and
does something,
bangs it, and that's where his bottle of booze, probably like 30 years old, is still sitting, and he just starts drinking it. Like, I was like, that's okay. There's a genuine Peter Venkman moment. But then I think you brought up in your car review of it, then the next scene he's just like randomly in sunglasses. The fuck?
No, that wasn't me, but I did see, I think Red Letter Media talked about that. They're like, he probably just was like, no, I'm wearing sunglasses.
Right. But I got a chuckle out of that because I was like, that's like a profit move. Like I'd have like a joint stashed in the fucking in a Ziploc bag so it didn't go stale. You know.
Well, the thing that like annoys me about the movie though, because it has a better opportunity to be like a better family adventure movie by actually focusing on the fucking family. You have Paul Rudd coming in as a new dad to these kids and stuff, and they touch on it, but it should be the central focus of the film, of them coming together as a family at the end of the movie to defeat the ghosts. Like they work through their personal issues. It doesn't do anything like that. But it sets it up. And it just doesn't do anything. That's why I think there was a lot of post-production stuff where they like ripped a lot out of this movie, a lot of character stuff out of the movie, because I mean it's under 2 hours, which I was thankful for. Not every movie needs to be a 2.5 hour like magnum opus. Anyways, Jeremy, are you gonna go see it?
When it comes out to VOD or something like that. I've got 3 questions, or maybe 2. We'll see how we. Does Sigourney Weaver have a cameo? Does Slimer show up?
Slimer, yes.
Slimer shows up.
Okay. And then how long is actually Bill Murray in the movie? Like his screen time?
5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. He's kind of comes in at the end. He comes at the end. Ernie Hudson is in the movie, but not in the movie. They're kind of all come in at the end, and honestly, there's a big set piece where they fight the ice demon, and I don't even think they were in the same place at the same time. Like they literally have groups of characters like cordoned off so they don't ever interact in the final showdown. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah.
Big budget studio stuff
like that, but there's a moment where Ernie Hudson kind of scolds a white child, like I'm very uncomfortable with. But other than that, I always did like the idea. I was interested in the idea of the ghost trap when it gets full.
Mhm.
Like it's in
Yeah.
the middle of like a creaky basement, and it's like an old building. Like that ghost trap is going to destroy the place. I like how they exploited that as a plot point. It did get chuckles out of me. You know what made me chuckle? You know what made me actually belly laugh was the part where the lady brings her watch in, and they can't find the ghost in
Yes.
it. So brings the fucking sled right lady to have reviews. Like something about that line really made me a belly laugh because it was just completely unexpected. But you know,
It has its moments. It's not like it's not This is going really well.
I'm gonna try to. My fault.
I gotcha.
It's always my fault. I'll try to reconnect after that. I'll just summarize by saying I had a great experience. Shit, I'm just gonna hold on.
No, it has enough moments. I think like if you are generally like Ghostbusters, it's probably worth checking out. Like I wouldn't suggest that it's not like apocalyptically bad. It's just one of those things I find that's frustrating because you can watch a movie like failing to live up to its potential in real time. It's kind of like how I felt with Late Night with the Devil. I'm like watching a movie that has such potential and watching it be squandered is a little frustrating.
Right.
Just on like kind of in an analytical perspective. Like I think Dan is right. It is the kind of movie that you go to, you shut your brain off and you eat some popcorn, and if you have kids, you take your kids to it. Like that's what it is. Ghostbusters is not what Ghostbusters used to be anymore.
Also, my further question is, why is this specifically PG-13? I know for certain reasons why nowadays, but remember when the first one came out, it was PG and there was smoking, there was innuendo and things like that. All of that got removed by the sequel and then on with the cartoon and whatnot. Why is this one specifically PG-13 today compared to those films? Is it just
a couple swear words?
Okay, all right.
I mean, honestly, yeah, because like the rubric how they figure out what is PG and PG-13 is completely different than it was in 1984 when the first one came out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of like cartoon violence and some naughty words.
Right.
Trembling says post-production caught that they were doing a positive portrayal of the nuclear family, and thank God they were able to excise it in time. Honestly, it's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah.
Aeneas Tinker says Paul Rudd does full frontal.
Yeah.
And it's cold too. It's cold too. It's a frozen empire. So credit to him for taking one for the team. But anyways, yeah. Well, with that, without further ado, I guess we'll get into the news while Dan is, and hopefully Dan will, hopefully he'll come back because he's the reason why we're talking about this movie.
The news.
All right, everybody. So we're going to talk about some news. If I can get my stuff together here, I just want to make sure I saved the Boondock Saint one for Dan. So the first story we're going to be talking about, just very briefly, I just wanted to kind of mention it. Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis screened for first time today for distributors at City Walk IMAX. Kind of a big deal. This is a long time in the making, this movie. And he sold his vineyard, if I'm not mistaken, to pay for it. It's all out of his pocket, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Do you know anything about this movie? Is this a movie you're looking forward to? I assume you are, just because it's like, why not, right?
The second I saw those Shia LaBeouf and John Voight stills of just the behind the scenes of making it, I'm like, oh, I'm bored. I'm seeing this.
I know that the script has been out there for years. I've always meant to read it. I never have, because I don't think he ever thought he was going to get to make it. So he just kind of gave the script out. Because it's been out online for a long time. Because I have no clue what it's about, but like you said, like you see those behind the scenes photos, and you're like, "Whoa, it's like very intriguing."
Yeah.
Because it looks so crazy. It reminded me a lot of Julie Taymor's Titus. Have you ever seen that?
Yes. Yeah.
With Anthony Hopkins,
right?
Titus Andronicus.
He's right over the cover. Yeah.
Yeah. because it seems like it's got kind of that futuristic fallen Roman Empire vibe to it.
It also feels like one of those like old school films. It kind of died in the 70s, but like where the director just had like full reign over the entire production before the executive producers came in saying like, no, you can't be killing horses on your set. What are you doing, dude? You know,
Watch me.
Yeah, see what I can do. Yeah.
So I mean, that's really all. I feel like it's got to be close to coming out. So
Yeah.
I figured it was worth mentioning at the very least. I'm excited for it. Every once in a while I go down a Coppola rabbit hole and like rewatch like Apocalypse Now and The Godfather and
Jack.
all that good stuff. And Jack, of course. Well, we can't leave Jack out.
Yeah.
Jack is like, another one of his most famous films.
Yeah.
Actually, apparently I think he also did the same thing with Jack, where Jack is a Zoetrope movie, his production company, and I think he paid like a lot to make that movie. Which, I will say this, when I was a kid, I used to really like Jack. I used to watch it all the time. All right, Profitt, are you there? Guess not.
We'll
So
have to
the
ask Profitt if he enjoyed Jack as well growing up.
Oh, he did. Guy's probably his favorite movie.
Yeah.
It's probably his favorite fucking movie, dude. All right. Anyways, so looks like we're going to be stuck with Rian Johnson a little bit longer. T Street partners Rian Johnson and Ram Bergman set 2-pick producing deal at Warner Brothers. Prepping a third Knives Out to shoot later this year with Daniel Craig. Oh, thank God we had another fucking Knives Out movie. Trembling says, I still haven't watched the Coda cut of Godfather 3. I did. It doesn't drastically change the movie. So if you're hoping that that it's very different, it's not. I think it's probably a little bit better. It's like a little tighter. And it makes his point a little bit more clear, I suppose. But it's essentially the same movie. Because I found that out kind of the hard way, because I watched the original cut and I watched Coda like in the same day, and I can tell you there's not a lot of difference. Some things are kind of rearranged. It's kind of like in the same way that Michael Mann's Black Hat. Have you ever seen the director's cut of Michael Mann's Black Hat, where he just kind of moves the timelines around so hopefully things make a little bit more sense? It's kind of like that. But anyways, I mean, am I a Rian Johnson hater? I don't like him because I find him smug, and I find his shtick a little boring at this point, where he's just like this master deconstructionist, and nothing is as clever or as interesting as I think he thinks it is. Yeah. Which can feel frustrating because you can feel it when you're watching the movie. You can feel how clever everyone thinks, like especially Knives Out 2, whatever it's called.
I'm just like shocked that like how he goes from something like Brick, which I think is a cool little small neo-noir thriller, to this. I don't know how like obviously there's journeyman directors that kind of like take this stride, but like he didn't start off that way, and then he just became the smarmy kind of like dude. He's not even like a troll, he's just smarmy.
No, he's just smarmy. I mean, I think like the Star Wars thing irreparably damaged like his personality. Honestly. Because I like plenty of like the earlier Rian Johnson stuff. You named Brick. He did The Brothers Bloom. Looper. I'm actually very fond of the movie Looper. I think Looper's a pretty solid science fiction movie. The problem with him, he's got like this M. Night Shyamalan type of quality to him, where he almost feels like he's expected to be a deconstructionist. Because even going all the way back to Brick, that's a deconstructionist film.
Right.
He did that with Brothers Bloom, was kind of a deconstructionist heist movie. Looper is a deconstructionist sci-fi time traveling movie. He did his Star Wars, which was kind of deconstructing the hero's myth in a certain respect, or demystifying it. Basically sucking all of anything interesting out of it. And his Knives Out movies are very similar to that. Trembling gets it right. He says he's the ultimate midwit. I don't totally disagree with that.
Also, Ram Bergman, just like in the side by side, looks like the worst rapist, pedophile, like
oh my goodness
mugshot. I can't even.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
He is. Somebody check this guy's hard drive.
Right.
I ain't not looking for the script of Knives Out 3, okay? Looking for something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, I mean, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of what he's been doing. I don't expect that to change. Maybe, who knows? Maybe Knives Out 3 will really change things for me. I don't know. Did you even watch the Knives Out movies? Did you ever watch those movies?
I saw the first one, but I didn't see the second one that went to streaming. The quality I kind of expect from both of them, though, is that it's sort of a means to just branch out a lot of those mainstream actors to do something a little bit different. And maybe it's like access for the director to play with some of their strengths and weaknesses. But I don't know. After that first Knives Out, I tapped out. I was not really for this whole the new Clue mystery.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's called the Glass Onion was the sequel.
Glass Onion, yeah.
And it was called A Knives Out Story or Mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some weird subtitle for
right.
it. Well, I don't know why it wasn't just called Knives Out 2, The Glass Onion.
Yes, yeah.
You know?
Well, I'm not a big fan of these Kenneth Branagh movies right now coming out about Murder on the Orient Express.
Oh, yeah, the Agatha Christie mysteries.
Yeah, but at least that's adapting from something, and they're at least like trying a little bit more. This is
because what he's trying. Knives Out is directly a deconstruction of Agatha Christie type mysteries.
Yeah,
I mean it literally is that. So if you watch the Kenneth Branagh films, you get kind of the straight version of it. You know, and yeah, I'm not a big fan of those either. And most of that has to do with like the aesthetics. Like I really just don't like the way the movies look. They look like CGI nightmares. We were kind of talking about this earlier. It's just like and unnecessarily. Like, why is Murder on the Orient Express feel like a CGI drenched cartoon? Like, why? You couldn't have actors on a set with like a green screen or something with better background plates than this? Yeah. Come on now. Tremling says the guy on the right looks like one of the meth cook cultists from True Detective Season 1. That's very true. He does. Well, the only other news story I have, which I thought Dan was going to be here for this. Hopefully he'll be able to jump back in while we're talking about it. I hope so, because Dan has a history with this. This is why I was hoping that Dan would be here. He has a history with the film The Boondock Saints. Actually, I think Dan Profitt himself might have been the person that introduced me to Boondock Saints in the first place. Like, I probably only really saw it because of Dan. The Boondock Saints are back. Norman Reedus, Sean Patrick Flannery return as Boston vigilantes as Thunder Road and Dragonfly Films take the reins. Now, I didn't see, in the current configure, Troy Duffy will step aside as director after creating and helming the original and the 2009 sequel, The Boondock Saints All Saints Day. Both films starred The Walking Dead's Norman Reedus and Sean Patrick Flannery as the McManus brothers, with Bill Connolly playing their father. So that's kind of interesting that Troy Duffy's not going to be directing it. I wonder if he's going to write it then. Maybe not. Maybe he's just like, just give me a fucking paycheck, please.
Right.
What else is Troy Duffy doing? I guess I should look, I should look. But anyways, what's your history with Boondock Saints? Is it something you have any awareness of? Have you ever even seen it, actually?
Not any like tight closeness with it. I've got a good memory of watching it. Back when I was running cross country in high school, we would have like that inspirational movie before our next like team meet or whatever.
Yeah.
And one of those nights we just decided to put on the Boondock Saints, and me being the film snob, I'm like already picking up like, oh, this just seems like a weird Tarantino knockoff in some.
It is. I mean, that's kind of what it is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a comic book version of a Tarantino kind of script, right? Like that's the pulpy nature of it.
Right. I like the performances though. Like I especially whatever you got to say about David DeLaRocco. He was probably my favorite part of the movie, and Willem Dafoe, but just not. I didn't connect with it really well, and I don't remember much of the sequel.
Well, it was such a phenomenon. I mean, like all of my friends knew and really liked this movie.
Yeah.
All of them constantly, endlessly talked about. Boondock Saints and Super Troopers was out around the same time, and there is a Venn diagram where you can see, like, if you find somebody that likes Super Troopers, invariably they probably also really like the Boondock Saints. This has been true. This has been true in my life, and the reason why I have I've noted that mentally is because they weren't movies that I particularly cared that much about or liked. So I was always I always felt like a little bit of the odd man out. Like everybody really liked it. Oh, anyways. But so Profitt. So they're making Boondock Saints 3, my friend. Now, I explained to everybody that I think you might have been the person that showed me Boondock Saints. I believe maybe even for the first time. I think you brought it over my house, and then we watched it, and I think my dad was watching it with us, and they had the part with the stripper and like the coin op stripper thing, and you were like giddily giggling. And then my dad looking at me like, who the fuck is this?
Well, I mean, I just like every 16-year-old boy at the time, I thought that was the greatest movie that had ever been filmed.
Yeah, a lot of people, all of our friends did. Everybody did.
Yeah.
I just thought it was so cool. You know what I mean? And
Well,
then,
Jeremy had brought up that it's kind of like a Tarantino-esque ripoff. You know, the way that the dialogue is and stuff. So, you know, we were all kind of responding to that as being young film nerds. Yeah, we all loved Tarantino at the time, you know.
I just couldn't get into it, you know, like at the end of the day. I mean, again, yeah, and if Dan's got anything more, like, I mean, I like the performances. I think it's stylish, but it reminds me of did either of you ever see the Doom Generation?
Oh yeah,
that was like a straight up, just like Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, so it's a Guy Araki or something.
Yeah,
the director.
It was reminding me a bit of that as well.
That
everybody was doing that. Yeah.
Well, everybody was doing approximations of the popular stuff from the early '90s, which was like Tarantino was a big influence of that. You know, his shadow loomed large. But yeah, I mean, and I remember when the sequel came out too in 2009. I remember Dan and I have a mutual friend, Artie. That I remember him calling me up, asking me if I was going to go see it, and I was like, no. And he's like, "What, dude? It's Boondock Saints 2. Like, dude, I'm going. Like, I got a fan ticket. I'm going to an early screening." Like, he was so excited for it. Did you have any sense of that by the time the sequel came out, Dan? That you were like looking forward to the next chapter?
No, and not at all. Because what year did it come out?
Well, the first one comes out in like '98, and I think the sequel came out in 2009.
Yeah. Okay. So the sequel came out when I was in Boston, and we were like recording our second album, and I was like, not spending a lot of time on movies very, very much anymore. I was really focused on music.
Yeah.
And I remember that I didn't watch it until it came out on whatever. And
no, I don't. You there?
Yeah, I must have watched it. God damn,
This is going to be a weird review of Josie and the Pussycats if Dan's not here. We're just going to shit all over this thing. It's going to be no defenders.
He's coming for us.
Yeah, exactly. Trembling says, "I love the movie as a teen, but I tried to rewatch it a few years ago and couldn't."
My internet's okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think that was actually live when I sighed like that.
No, you're good. You're okay. Trembling says, "I love the movie as a teen, but I tried to watch it a few years ago and couldn't get 20 minutes in before turning it off." He also says, "Remember Love and 45? That was just a complete ripoff of both True Romance and Love and Natural Born Killers." Yes, remember Killing Zoe? That was another Tarantino ripoff.
Yeah.
But that's all that I remember of the sequel was that I saw like Norman Reedus coming over, cresting a hill on a horse with like a huge beard. And I was like, all right, I have this is ridiculous. And I actually haven't even seen the sequel. I've seen like the first 10 minutes of the sequel.
Well, it's not good.
So like I have no desire to see part 3.
Well, apparently Troy Duffy is not coming back. Actually, one of my favorite things that came out of the Boondock Saints thing at all is there's a documentary about Troy Duffy making Boondocks and how it kind of all went to his head a little bit. What the hell's the name of the documentary? I can't remember it. Let me look it up real quick. It's very entertaining if you've never seen it. It might actually even be like just on YouTube at this point. Overnight, that's what it's called. Overnight, about his overnight success. Because like he was courted heavy, hard. Harvey Weinstein was involved in this. Yeah, you know that guy. Harvey Weinstein. Yeah. He was involved in it. He was offered tons of money. They bought him a bar. The bar that he worked at, when he sold the script, they bought him the bar, which is, from what I understand, is what he did for a living for a long time. I'm not sure if he still does that, but yeah, I can't say that. Overnight's on Tubi, everybody.
I was gonna say, I love that you can watch this on Tubi, Pluto TV, the Roku channel, Crackle, you name it.
It's also just somebody uploaded it to YouTube. It's just on YouTube if you want. Yeah. It's a very entertaining documentary, and it gives you a little bit of insight into kind of courting actors, like, you know, because it was a hot script. Like, he got Willem Dafoe to be in it. You know, it's like it's nothing to poo-poo there. I mean, it was kind of impressive. Big Paul says Troy Duffy was a DB and called Ethan Hawke, who is interested in the sequel, a hack. Oh, hey, listen, Troy Duffy he's the king, and Ethan Hawke is a hack. You saw Hamlet, Big Paul. Remember that? Remember watching Hamlet with Ethan Hawke, Bill Murray? Bill Murray was in that one too. But anyways, so Dan dropped out again. Okay, so I was gonna say we'll skip the trailer talk, but since Dan's having trouble, we'll go ahead with it anyways. We're gonna take a look at the Alien Romulus trailer, the teaser that came out the other day. Big Paul says, I saw Training Day, dog. Hell yeah, you did. You saw it with me. My mom had to go buy us tickets. It was on my birthday, actually. My mom went and bought us tickets to Training Day on opening day, and that's what we did for my birthday one year. What a magical time to be alive. So we're going to check out the Romulus trailer. Fede Alvarez has got a new Alien movie coming out. This was originally supposed to be straight to streaming, kind of in the same way that they did with Prey, because they're trying to rehabilitate some of these franchises, I guess, that have been kind of, inconsistent over the years. What do you think of Fede Alvarez before we even get into this? What do you think about some of his output? If people don't know, he did the remake of Evil Dead. It's not Lights Out. Oh, what is it called? Don't Breathe.
Don't Breathe. Yeah. No, I like those first two installments that I've heard, or at least have seen from him. Evil Dead went for something that was definitely unexpected, I think, for a remake. People were expecting something a little bit more on the campy side, a little bit more goofy, wacky, even. It's that Evil Dead 2 charm, I think, especially, that is in everybody's brains.
Yeah, it's kind of synonymous with the property.
Right, but I like that he was kind of pushing the MPAA a little bit with just all the gore and just making it a fun sort of kind of romp in that regard, and also giving those new characters a reason for why they're even going out to that cabin in the first place, even if it's a little far-fetched. I like it as a different kind of side story, not necessarily in universe when you have Bruce Campbell at the very end going groovy in the end credits, but I enjoy it.
That was never fulfilled.
Exactly, yeah.
Because they do this every time they make an Evil Dead movie. They're like, oh, you never know. Well, Bruce Campbell has kind of officially put it to bed at this point. Yeah. But for years, they were supposed to do a team up with Bruce Campbell and the final girl from the 2013 movie, and that never materialized. Right. But I feel the same way. It's something I was kind of pleasantly surprised by. I remember when I went to go see it, I was like, oh, it was cool. They did something different with it. I mean, it doesn't do it for me like, Evil Dead 2, but that's because that's so tied to my youth, my nostalgia for it and stuff. So, but even being such a huge fan, I was able to separate myself enough and just enjoy it for what it was, which is a absolute crazy modern splatterfest. Actually, it's what they should have done with Roadhouse.
Yes.
where
you're
they
right.
just kick everything up to like 11, and it is brutal and relentless, and that's like really the only thing that you could do with that. Because if you were to try to make like something that was a little lighter, like Evil Dead 2 or an Army of Darkness style movie, I just don't think it would have worked.
Yep.
It wouldn't have worked without those pieces. Like Sam Raimi has such a specific kind of vision and style and voice that you can't really replicate it. People try to, but they often can't. Even he can't do it sometimes.
Yes.
Even he struggles getting his voice through. If you've seen a few of his more bigger budget things, like The Great and Powerful Oz, and the Doctor Strange movie that came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I watched out of obligation because I can't leave my boy alone.
And then like following up with Don't Breathe, I thought was just a full on solid thriller. I was surprised when that had come out at the time that did as well as it did. It
So was I. Yeah.
It was so just grungy and just like
It's a very
morally
mean-
depressing.
It's a mean-spirited movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's what's his name? Oh my God, the actor who plays the blind guy, Stephen
Yes.
Lang.
Stephen Lang.
He makes people call him slang, which I found out actually watching the special features on Don't Breathe. That he calls it. He asked people to call him slang. And I'm a fan of that as well. I thought it was surprisingly good. Actually, in the sequel, which is not made by Fede Alvarez, I didn't think he was a producer on it. Like one of his friends directed it, but that's actually pretty good. Underrated.
Yeah, I think you and I both ended up liking that okay, even though the trailers were like turning us off a little bit. We're like, are we supposed to sympathize with this guy now?
Well, the problem with the movie is that the hero of the movie is the villain from the last movie, and the villain in the last movie literally rapes women and tries to impregnate them in his basement.
Yes.
So when you turn him into an anti-hero in the second movie, there's a little bit of a disconnect there. Like so it's almost like you just kind of have to forget about the first movie and just like, because you don't have to see the first one to watch the second one.
Yeah.
Honestly, they have like almost nothing to do with each other. But anyways, we're gonna check this out. Hopefully your internet hangs in there, Dan. We just briefly watch this trailer for the new Alien film. Now, Dan, I know you don't give a shit at all about Alien, right?
I don't, but my son's starting to. There's a Alien arcade game at the arcade we go to.
Oh, nice.
And there were some really cool, like reclaimed metal sculptures made out of like bike spokes and chains and random pieces of metal in one of the stores downtown in Brattleboro that we were going to. They had like Ninja Turtles. They had tons of aliens crawling around on the wall.
Oh,
he was
cool.
like, Papa, that's the alien from the video game. And then so immediately we went to turn it up, and the owner was there loading in stuff 2 hours before they opened. The guy opened the store just so Theo could go in and get an Alien versus Predator comic book that he wanted.
Oh, no way. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. So I'm going to be getting more acquainted with it. I mean, I've always thought it was cool, but I've always thought it was there's not as much to it as I think people want there to be. They keep mining back on these properties, and it's just like, holy shit. It's kind of like Ghostbusters. It's like you caught lightning in a bottle, and now you just keep going back to that well.
Yeah, it is a little.
I haven't seen any of the new Alien movies with. I haven't seen any of the new Alien movies like Prometheus and stuff. So I don't
they're
know.
not like awful or anything like that. I would say Prometheus, Alien Covenant are bright spots in the legacy of the franchise, honestly. But you always go back to the first two, and those are kind of the ones that's why it has the reputation that it has, is because of the first two.
I will with my son, because you know what? Truly, my introduction to the Alien franchise was the Winona Ryder movie where the thing gets sucked through the wall.
Yeah, Alien Resurrection. Yeah.
And
Me too.
I watched that, and I was like, this.
I forget the name of that French director too that did it, but
guy, one of the Coulee or something.
Yes.
Let me see here. Alien Resurrection. Alien Resurrection, 1997. Trebling says, I'm glad they played it straight, because if they tried to be campy with modern comedy stylings, it would have been horrendous. He's talking about the remake of Evil Dead, and I totally agree.
Yeah.
The directors of this are Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
Jean-Pierre Jeunet, which I believe didn't he normally direct things with like other people? Yeah, because he also did
Right.
The City of Lost Children, Delicatessen, Amelie,
Yes.
A Very Long
yeah.
Engagement.
Yeah, how do you go
Yeah.
from Amelie to I want Sigourney Weaver to make love to the xenomorph?
Well, it's because I think this is their opportunity, right? They're getting a shot. So they've done a bunch of indie, low budget stuff, and studios. I mean, I guess it's always been kind of like this. They come sniffing around, and be like, "Hey, do you want a $200 million franchise movie?" Well, sure. I mean, Alien Resurrection is not like a good movie, but it's very watchable. And
it's entertaining.
It's very entertaining. It's very interesting. It has its own kind of unique vibe that sets it apart from the other movies in the franchise. So, while I would never say it's my favorite one, I don't think there's an Alien movie that I truly can't watch, that I truly just is too bad, except for maybe Alien versus Predator 2. Requiem is not good.
Requiem. Yeah.
All right, well, let's get started with this. I do like that they're going back to this analog thing, and I've heard some interviews with Fede Alvarez where he's all about practical. The movie is mostly practical effects, so I was definitely happy to hear that. Trembling says City of Lost Children had great visuals, so they wanted him to do those for an Alien movie, and they had really nothing to lose with how hated Alien 3 was generally. Well, that's true. They were starting at such a low place that they were like, "Oh, let's just do something crazy."
I do appreciate too, like looking at some of these visuals. I don't assume that he played the game, but like even like what that Alien Isolation game did at the time, you know,
cool.
As a throwback, you know, like this looks like it's still kind of feeding into that a little bit. So.
Well, because they're taking the same kind of conceptually going for the same thing, which is to give you the texture and the feel of Alien, which I thought the video game actually did a very good job of.
Right.
Oh my God! See now we're in definitely sequelitis territory.
Yes,
because you know the face huggers. That's such a those are always like these quiet, tense moments in the other Alien movies, and now they're just like, no, dude. What if there was like 100 face huggers and they were running at you?
It's like the Thing video game. It's just like, oh yeah, the spider crawlers are just everywhere now. You just gotta shoot them as much as you can. It's like, come on, you've ruined the area of suspense now. You know?
I wish somebody would take another crack at that, because the video game, has such a good foundation.
Yeah.
It has such a cool, novel idea and approach to making the Thing video game, and I wish it was just like kind of trust itself to be more of just like a mystery game.
Yes,
it's like a solving the mystery.
Yeah.
Will there be diversity in space? Fuck yeah. Well, they don't really show you very much of this. It's a teaser though. Yeah. I'm just hoping that they stick with the practical effects.
Yes.
And that it's passively entertaining. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. I think with Fede Alvarez, we're going to get something like very gritty.
We're going to still see some of those Geiger designs, I think, but it's going to
100%, yeah.
But yeah, like already from this teaser trailer, like it is playing a little bit into that sequelitis nature. That's not.
Oh, it's going to be. They want to do a balls to the wall action Alien movie. Like this is kind of like, you know, Ridley Scott did the last few, and now we're almost getting kind of a Cameron stand-in a little bit. You know, who has more of a populist sensibility.
Yeah.
Trembling says, "Man, that DLC called Crew Expendable, where you play the third act of the first Alien movie, was so good. It is really good. Actually, me and my son Foster, it took him like 2 years, because he would always be like, 'Hey, can we play that Alien game?' And then within a few minutes, he'd be like, 'Dad, shut it off. I can't do this. Shut it off. It's too much.' But yeah, we really enjoyed that. We got a kick out of it. I mean, what do you think of these? Like, are you a fan of Alien in general? Do you like these movies? Like,
Oh, again, my parents got me into Alien and Aliens. I definitely kind of like grew up through them. You know, honestly, a lot of my like film love I owe to my parents, even though they're not like the kind of film lovers that I am
yeah,
today.
yeah.
You know,
I have the same experience with my father. So yeah.
yeah, and this was just one of those classics where, you know, I remember I have like a distinct memory where I was saying like, "Oh, this looks so different from Star Wars if this is like in a different time." And my dad's like, "Jeremy, this is way better than Star Wars. Get ready." Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah, Alien was one of those movies. I had a very similar experience where it was like, it was one of the first movies my dad was like, "Come on, kid, you can stay up late. We're going to watch a scary movie." I was probably like 5 years old, 5 or 6, something like that, you know, probably about the same age my son is now. And because I love doing that with my kid. I'm always like, "Come on, let's watch something inappropriate at night. Mom's asleep.
Yes.
Mom's asleep. We're going to watch Predator. It's going to be awesome." Although we tried to watch Prey. I tried to watch Prey with him, and he was like, "Dad, this is boring." I was like, "You know, kid, you're pretty based. You're pretty based. I'm not even trying, and you're pretty based."
I was going to mention, even on the Godzilla talk, the recent posts that I've seen from you, yeah, your kid is like, he is on point.
He knows his eras and stuff. He even kind of surprises me. I was trying to stump him a little bit. No,
Right.
not having it. Not stumpable. Well, I don't know where Profitt's at. Let me see. Has he sent a message? Can you link me the StreamYards? Yes, I can. Oh. Presents. Oh, no. What am I doing here? I'm trying to invite, copy. There. Well, he's back, but I'm going to put this here anyways. I'll put it there anyways.
Don't worry, I'm gonna have the least to say about. I mean, I'll have enough to say about the movie, but I won't have like.
Well, that's why we kind of need Dan.
Yes. Yeah.
Dan is the key to Josie and the Pussycats. Oh man! And now I just realized. Now I could not find a TV spot. Okay, you're good, man. Could not find a TV spot for this, so there's not going to be like an introductory TV spot. Let me see if I can find something though. There's got to be a trailer or something we can at least look at. Usually I have it loaded up. I got kind of a late start today. Josie and the Pussycats. Here we go. Whew, why are they so long? Here's a TV spot. There we go.
Yeah.
That's all we need. We don't need a full trailer. We don't need no stinking trailers. We just need
Speak
TV
for yourself.
spots.
Entertainment Weekly raves Josie rocks. It's the sexiest, sassiest, most stylish movie of the year. Fun, fun, fun. It's perfect.
We will always be friends first.
Irresistible, hilarious. It's Charlie's Angels meets Austin Powers.
I knew there was a reason you were so popular.
A sexy, cool comedy. You'll have the time of your life. Josie and the Pussycats. Rated PG-13. Now playing at theaters everywhere.
Stores and or soundtrack in stores now.
Hold on a second. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you can.
Oh yeah. Hold on. There we go. Show us the good. See, this is a recent purchase too. Because this only came out on vinyl a couple years ago.
Yeah, 2017, I think, was when that came out. But hold on a second. Let me see if I can prop my camera up a little bit. Oop, there we go. All right. This hopefully will be a little better. So yeah, the vinyl came out in 2017, but I think that little TV spot that you just played was a perfect example of one of the reasons why this movie failed. They had no idea how to market this fucking thing, and they market it with the same tone that the movie is trying to parody, right?
Yeah, because it wants to make it look like a teen romantic comedy type deal about best friends.
Right.
Although I was surprised in the TV spot, though, they at least acknowledge and hint to the fact that it's a little bit more of an adult comedy. Because they name drop Austin Powers.
That's true.
That's the first thing that is a little bit glaring to me because I don't think Austin Powers when I watch this. I definitely do think Charlie's Angels to some extent.
Yes. This is kind of the proto Charlie's Angels for that style of filmmaking. Honestly,
Yeah.
Nick G would have killed this thing. He would have nailed it.
But I was gonna say, like, at least in my time growing up, yes, there's Spice Girls in there. There's the Cheetah Girls.
Oh yeah.
If you want to go very specific,
Raven Simone, yeah.
And then on a different level, Ben Stiller's Zoolander, also commenting on some of the similar stuff.
Yes, actually, yeah, it goes kind of hand in hand with something like Zoolander for sure.
Yeah.
But it's just that they didn't know how to like handle the girly aspect of it. Like, how do you market this very like a very estrogen drenched movie to the mainstream? And
yeah, but it is estrogen drenched for sure. I mean, that's supposed to be kind of the joke. Partially, it's kind of the joke that they have a generic backstory. Their journey is a little bit generic. It's supposed to be commenting on those things. Honestly, it's one of those. It's a movie that like I completely understand what it's going for, and I think it just didn't have a lot to say. So within 20 minutes, you basically get the whole movie, and then they just repeat that over and over again.
Right. So the strength of the movie relies completely on basically the silliness, the zaniness of it, and does it make you feel good when it's on? And that's what, you know what, when we watched it last night, like I was in a shitty mood. I didn't want to watch it. I was like, this is a bad idea. This is a bad idea to watch this with my life partner.
And then by the end, I was singing along to the songs and being like, get your guy, Josie.
But no, it made me laugh. It made me forget about shit. And it just made me like, it's just goofy. And I said to Caitlin before I turned it on, I was like, the tone of this movie is like wild. Like it is a send up. It is a satire. It's going to be like really in your face. And, it opens up with just like that obnoxious MTV in your face fisheye lens with the people screaming and the girls and they're getting off the limo and they do the Backstreet Boys number and shit. And it is so it's so off-putting. You know what I mean? That if you're not kind of aware of what it's doing, then you're like, what the fuck am I even watching? I imagine that 70% of the people who walked into the theater to see Josie and the Pussycats came into that opening scene and were like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, this is insane.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
it makes you feel annoyed and bad,
Well, yeah, I guess. And that's, kind of the point. It is kind of, and it kind of isn't, because it's, when you do a satire and then you have to make a movie, you have to do a good version of the thing you're satirizing. It doesn't like it is completely lazy to constantly let these people off the hook, because it's like, yeah, I get what you mean. I get it. But like, I guess I didn't find the fun in it. Like, I guess that you did. I was watching it and I was like, this feels like a independent movie. Like that was like people got together and it's kind of scrappy but it wasn't. It was like a mid-budget studio movie. And I was watching it and I'm like, where the fuck did all that money go? But
it went to the soundtrack, dude. They got fucking Babyface to produce the soundtrack.
Yeah, they did. Yep. They had to pay all those bands to be the band. Yeah,
they paid the lead singer from Letters to Cleo to be the voice of Josie.
Yes.
And but I think part of it is informed by the fact that when the first time I saw the movie, I was God, what was I, 15 when this came out? 16, and I was in the theater with my friends in New Jersey because I had gone back to New Jersey to see my friends there, and we just like needed something to go see. And we went to go see it, and it was so like unexpectedly in your face, and wacky. Like we didn't expect the type of humor that it was. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so we were just like so like the first big joke of the movie is an anal sex joke. It played out as a 3-minute long Backstreet Boys song. and it just keeps it. It's kind of like rapid fire in the way that it hits you with all this shit. Like it doesn't ever let up. You know what I mean? And then you get to, and then all of a sudden, like Alan Cumming is taking off his wig and his makeup and letting his belly pop out of his shirt. And I'm like,
Well,
it's just the kind of.
It's the humor
It's the
of
kind
the
of-
era. It's our
Yes,
era's humor.
yes.
It's all non
Right.
sequitur, random jokes, and
Yes, yes.
because this
Yeah.
is, you know what it made me think of? I was like, when I was a teenager, this is what the movie I would have wanted to make this movie.
Yes,
And
so
I would have
can't-
thought I was super clever and super smart because I'm like, dude, look at all the product placement I'm putting in the background. Look at all this stuff I'm doing. But the movie doesn't really, it doesn't really do anything with it. And I wish it was just more I wish it was more aggressive. Maybe that's a weird comment to make. But that's
No,
'cause
yeah, I get that. Because watching it as an adult, I was waiting for it to end. You know what I mean? And it's like 80 minutes long, 86 minutes long or something.
Well, because it doesn't subvert the tropes that it's satirizing. It actually just
right. It just brings it up in front of you, but it doesn't.
It doesn't do anything.
And it doesn't
Because
take
it
its
can't.
time
It's
with
not-
those. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not allowed to, because if it actually did, then, because like you pointed out, Sean, it is a big studio movie or mid-sized studio movie. So at the end of the day, it's got to check out with the big wigs, got to check out with the suits. And you can't actually do anything truly subversive to the suits. You can sort of put the puppet show on, but you like you said, they can't go too aggressive with it, because at the end of the day, this is like a PG-13, technically comic book movie that we're trying to get all the kids to come see. And I think that the directors and the actors knew what they were going for, but probably nobody else in the production did.
Well, it kind of reminds me of the situation with this may seem like an odd connection, but the Super Mario Brothers movie from 1994, where it's like those directors were picked for that movie because of what was that? Oh shit, the VR head, Max Headroom. They created Max Headroom, and they thought they were interesting directors, so they gave them a chance. This duo, the directors of this movie, Harry Elfont and Deborah Kaplan, had just come off of Can't Hardly Wait. And now, Can't Hardly Wait for people our age was like a big movie for teenagers back in the day.
This is weird.
Every girl I knew loved Can't Hardly Wait.
No, it was a huge summer teen movie, and it was.
But it's also, but it's better than it should be, and it is a little subversive, and it kind of messes with the tropes a little bit. So I can understand. But it does what Josie and the Pussycats doesn't do. It still delivers a good version of the thing it's kind of messing with. And I don't think Josie and the Pussycats actually becomes like a more than a novelty. Like the whole movie is just the novelty.
Right. It is a trifle, and you have to take it as such, but it does. It tries to punch up a little bit. But you're right. It never can actually sort of crest what it's trying to do. Maybe Jeremy's right. Like it doesn't take its time enough, or like you said, it's not aggressive enough. But I will give it credit for being more than it could have been.
Sure.
Like the idea, like whoever said we're going to take like this 60s Archie comic property and turn it into like a pop punk satire of the sort of death of the boy band or whatever, and the very real CIA operation to indoctrinate the youth of pop culture and the entertainment industry. Which one of the things that actually made me laugh my ass off was when they were talking about brainwashing.
Yeah.
And Parker Posey's trying to explain it to the people, and she's like, "The Chinese guy knows what I'm talking about."
Yeah.
That was like completely unexpected to me. But like all her business with like her headdresses and stuff, the one where she's moving around and it's going like,
yeah, Parker Posey is she's my secret MVP.
Yeah, for real. I'll agree with you on that, because just the energy that it takes to be that obnoxious, man. Like getting into that character must have been so satisfying to her. She was probably just like, I get to be the most fucking annoying prick in the universe.
Yeah.
And she's like, she plays it like she chews it up the same way that Ian McDermott chews up playing the Emperor in Star Wars.
Kind of,
just like, loving being this total scumbag and this vapid, disgusting creature. But yeah, I forgot how like big of a performance that was because in retrospect, I remembered Alan coming, but I kind of forgot about her.
Well, she was at this time in her life, she was trying to be more mainstream. I don't know if you guys ever seen Blade Trinity. Like she's one of the vampires in Blade Trinity, and she gives a very similar performance in Blade Trinity that she gives in this. So Jeremy, was this your first time? I assume this is your first time watching this, or maybe even thinking about it.
Yeah, this completely just came and went, I guess, growing up because there's a lot of threads between the actors and the crew and everybody involved in this film, like with other projects between like the end of the 90s and the early 2000s. If anything, like I'm probably closest to like those Scooby-Doo movies, the first two.
Yeah.
And what that meant for those comedic actors, those romantic comedic actors at the time. Yeah, this one just completely like zipped my radar. But I do remember actually watching this cartoon growing up. And that's the thing. Like I did grow up on a lot of the Hanna-Barbera stuff, so I knew what this property was.
Mm-hmm.
I just completely skipped out on the movie that came out.
It's been weird when you watch the movie and it's nothing like the cartoon.
Exactly.
They kind of just like took the name and the fact that it's a band, a girl band, and that was kind of it. Yeah. Because I was the same way. Like I grew up with Cartoon Network, and back in the day when Cartoon Network first launched, they would put on anything. And they would burn through the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons like Space Ghost and Jabberwock and Josie and the Pussycats and, Birdman.
Yep.
Oh, let me see here. Trembling says, need me a Dairy Queen working Parker Posey. That's right. They'll always have a place for me at the Dairy Queen. Have you guys ever seen Waiting for Guffman? The Christopher Guest movie about they put on like a small town play. It's hysterical. It's the same crew from This Is Spinal Tap, A Mighty Wind.
Right.
Same improv crew. Trembling says, I wrote this off as just another Spice World. Now those are fighting words. Dan Profitt does not like when you bring up Spice World in the company of Josie and the Pussycats.
Well, and if I have to break out the 30-page booklet that's within this vinyl record where Rachel Lee Cook herself the BTFOs that argument. Okay.
Oh shit.
No, I can see what people are saying about that because without the lens of like nostalgia from seeing I saw this in the theater twice. I saw it with my friends. I saw it with my friends in New Jersey, and then when I went back to New Hampshire, my friends there saw it.
Yeah, you guys, and dude, you guys must have been so ripped.
Oh, me and Chris. Here's why me and Chris went because me and Chris were starting like a pop punk band. We were in a very similar kind of scenario as the characters in the story, except with no success in the future. And here was like this tailor-made girl group. So like this is the perfect group for us to put the posters on the wall because they're like these three gorgeous girls. They're playing pop punk. They're playing like the instruments that we want to be playing. They have like the sound that like our 15-year-old asses were like going for at the time. Mm-hmm. And as I was explaining to Caitlin, like the soundtrack is fantastically produced. Like the sound of the soundtrack, that's perfect. That's the pop punk sound that you want on like a mainstream recording. And that's why I say that all the money's on the record, because if there's anything about this production that's absolutely perfect and gorgeous, it's the soundtrack. Like it sounds great. I'm not talking about like the songs themselves, like whether or not they're good songs. I'm talking about the way it's actually laid down on record. Like it sounds perfect. Mm-hmm. And so it was easy to be taken by the sort of musician tropes in it. And the fact that these gals were, very easy to look at. And quite frankly, Rachel Lee Cook wouldn't stop bothering me about, a long-term relationship. So,
hey, Dan, I heard that you saw my movie twice. Thank you. I wanted to personally thank you.
But yeah, so like, it was very much a like, which pussycat would you marry kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, wait, no, I want the blonde one. It's like, no, you can take the blonde one because I want Rachel Lee Cook. You get the black girl. Okay.
Well, let's do it. Well, hold on. Let's do it. Fuck, marry, kill. The Josie and the Pussycats.
Damn.
Yeah.
Come on, we know. This is easy. This is easy. You fuck Rosario Dawson, you kill Tara Reid, and you marry Rachel E. Cook.
I think I might swap it actually.
You would marry Rosario? Okay.
No. Swap Rosario and Rachel and Tara.
Oh, Tara.
Because you guys-
Okay.
Well, look at the way Rosario's career is taken off. Can you imagine dealing with her these days?
Yeah, she's busy being a beard for politicians. It's like, what the hell was that name? Cory Booker. She was like his beard for 2 years, and
For a
then
while,
his political aspirations kind of disappeared, and so did their engagement.
Can you imagine hanging out with post Ahsoka?
She's
Rosario Dawson. She's probably a total bitch now.
She's got a big head, just like those knockers, Dan. A head as big as those knockers.
A head big enough to hold 2 huge tentacles hanging off.
But hey, Tarantino got some good shots of her feet for that Death Proof movie, so that's all that counts.
Mission accomplished. The dream of every young Hollywood starlet.
Yeah.
To be creeped on by Tarantino.
Right.
His dialogue's just so good, you know?
Yeah.
Trembling says,
no, go ahead. I'll hold it.
Trembling says, don't you love that Rachel Lee Cook with glasses and overalls on is a complete pig in the eyes of Freddie Prinze Jr. and Paul Walker? Yeah, she's all that. Didn't buy it. It was kind of like the Clark Kent Superman thing. I'm like, she's beautiful. Shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. Very easy to turn this toad into a beautiful princess. He also says, I'm marrying Tara Reid and we're raising breeding iguanas in a trailer in Arizona. That's probably could happen. I believe that could happen. Look at her on that kit, dude.
But, as you had mentioned, and I didn't really think about this, I had to go back and look at their respective Wikipedias. This really did tank the careers of Tara Reid and Rachel Lee Cook. Like neither of them did anything after this of any significance.
No.
They did some voice work.
No.
The Universal was like, we gave you your shot.
But for me, because I had experienced this film in such a jovial way, and it kind of like came in for me too, Jeremy. It kind of came in within 6 months of this movie coming out. It was out of my peripheral vision. Then I didn't think about it again for years and years. So like I didn't realize how poorly this movie was received and how badly it tanked.
Yeah.
And like I said, I had to go back and read the Wikipedias because I didn't really realize that it kind of ruined the career of 2 of the 3 Pussycats. You got to wonder what Rosario Dawson was doing to keep herself afloat.
Well, she may have found herself on some sort of couch or in some sort of hotel room with maybe a Harvey Weinstein type figure.
Well, that's how we know that Tara Reid and Rachel Lee Cook are actually gals with some dignity and self-respect. Okay?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, Tara Reid's, she's kept afloat, She's done some things.
She's hanging in there.
What'd she do? Josie and the Pussycats. I mean, they had American Pie, Van Wilder.
She's driving a school bus.
Yeah.
I think she might be doing something like that now. I know she was in kind of a bad way for a minute when she was just a wild alcoholic. She every interview she gave for it was like Sharknado 3. She's just completely like shit faced. Can't even understand her, and she's like, ah, ha, 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 ha.
She found the only county in California where there's a loophole where bus drivers can still smoke cigarettes, and she drives kids to school smoking menthols every day.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, it's a living. Like, who are we to judge?
Get away with it. Yeah.
Sit down back there. I'll call your mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Josie and the Pussycats. I used to got it going on.
I was this close to buying the rights to the property.
We got to get the girls back together so we can make a sequel.
I read that Tara Reid tried to buy the rights to the property so that she could like have a sequel made, quote unquote, while they were still young. Yeah, they just flat out told her no, because it would have turned into like a Dick Tracy situation.
I was just gonna bring that up. I would have been like, it would have been amazing if that happened, and that every couple of years to maintain copyright, she had to do some bullshit Josie and the Pussycats thing.
Yes, and yes, like a gin-soaked Tara Reid in character trying to drum. You know, what I
she's
mean?
trying to get the band back together. You know, that's like, it'll be a short film. It's like 7 minutes long. Rachel Lee Cook does her a solid and leaves her a voicemail or something.
Right. It's all filmed in the last remaining $1.5 million property she has.
A 7 Sharknado. All right, call me.
Let's
Pull
go.
me back
Listen,
in.
this my trailer's mortgage ain't gonna pay itself. Okay, keep them sharks coming.
Yeah.
Maybe we get sharks from outer space. I like, one of the things I noticed, and I think this is probably indicative of the directors, is that it's like not a very cinematic movie either. The way it's shot is very like simple, and it doesn't take advantage of like the sets that they built. Like they built a lot of sets and stuff. It clearly spent a lot of money, and they had no ability to make any of it look good.
No. Apart from like the subliminal and also just like all the other jokes like scattered, like it felt like a Nickelodeon Disney Channel movie.
Kind of,
the whole way through. Like
a little bit.
Going back to it at least.
Well, that's when I found out the budget, I was kind of shocked. I'll be real. I was shocked. I was like, that was $39 million in 2001 money? Like, shit.
That is quite a bit, actually.
Trummick says a washed up behind the music episode of them done in the exact style of those old VHN episodes would be amazing. It would be. And actually, it's a good segue into a part of the movie. One of the commentaries, one of the jokes in the movie that I really liked is that they take these pop stars, and even when they become washed up, they can't stop commodifying them. So they basically create VH1 behind the music to wallow in their misery and sell them to you again. Like it's a little joke that they kind of blow by. And I wish that they actually did that. Like, cause they have a band that Josie and the Pussycats replaces, Du Jour, which they should have done that with, as proof of the concept of the joke that they were making.
Yeah.
Du Jour. Here, we can hear a Du Jour song. You guys want to hear a Du Jour song? Let's see here.
And all their CDs and all my gears from my clothing line. Couture, couture. Yeah, I straight up love them. Like brothers.
That
like
line
brothers.
100% made me laugh.
Yeah.
Actually, with the beginning of this movie, I was like, I think this might actually be like, I hadn't seen it in a long time. I hadn't seen it since it came out. So I was like, maybe this will be like kind of like fun and interesting. And one other thing I do wish, and this goes into the kind of my commentary, I wish that it went harder, is that I wish they put more effort into this group, because it doesn't look like a real boy band. It looks like people wearing costumes pretending to be a boy band. And I really wish they would have just like really went for it. Like I said, like you got to make the joke and you're making fun of something, but you also have to do a good version of it.
They're not even in sync in this like actual frame. Like one guy's like facing the other way completely. Like
no, they just went out there and shot a bunch of B-roll, dude. They were just like playing the song over and over again. Guys, do some stuff. We got Actually, I listened to the audio commentary and they were losing light and it was raining and they were really bummed out about it. And they were bummed out because the next day when they were inside the airport, it was sunny out. So insights like that only available on the 20th anniversary edition, the Mill Creek release of Josie and the Pussycats, which now I know.
I should have listened to the commentary. I can't believe, you know what? I can't believe that you didn't enjoy it more having listened to the commentary, Shaun. I thought maybe it would give you a little bit of insight.
Well, the commentary was surprisingly matter of fact. Like it was all business. And I was like, well, that's really weird. I expected this to be kind of a lot of jokes, a lot of laughing, but they're very pleased with themselves. Like I wish they did a music video, like a real one.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
With a choreographed dance number.
Yes. Just sell it. Sell it a little bit.
I must say that the like the early 2000s MTV style saturation and editing,
Yes,
it
that was
gives
a
me
note I
so
made.
much anxiety. Oh my god, it
Yeah, the
makes me want to
Y2,
rip my fucking hair out.
the Y2K aesthetic. It's like it's this look. I'm surprised people aren't pounding surges. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It all has the distinct feeling of being only a couple of months before 9/11, and when we were
A
all
time
just
of
sort of riding
innocence.
The
high on the
dark
tide.
era.
Yeah, like how many years in a row can we make new Madden games and be satisfied with it? We're gonna find out. And yeah, actually, because this movie came out like 6 months before September 11th,
I
so
believe so. The summer before, yeah.
it has all that sort of pre-war of terror,
Angst, energy.
like post winning the Cold War, pre-war of terror American feeling of like just jubilation and like not giving a fuck about anything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and kind of living in a time of careless opulence.
It's that
Yeah.
Britney. There's that a bit of that like Britney Spears style kind of like
Yeah,
music video editing that's just so prominent in that time before things went south. But
Trembling says, when Prophet showed the Du Jour album in his video, I had no idea who they were, so I thought it was the album of a new Jack swing band like the Belle Biv DeVoe.
Oof.
Nope, that's just the Du Jour. Now, this is the big joke in the movie, which I'm surprised didn't get more play in the movie because it's a big anal sex joke. Like, so as you pointed out, like it nails the sound.
yeah,
It nails the design of the sound. The way those things are supposed to sound. Now, if they had just pushed a little harder,
actually, yeah.
Why weren't these guys in a 2-week boy band camp? Why did the girls have to go to a band camp and they didn't have to do anything? They just got to show up.
Because that would require method acting, and people are too lazy.
Are you telling me that Seth Green is not in the pocket right now? I don't think so. Donald Faison over here?
Yeah.
This is what he did in between seasons of Scrubs. Okay.
No, that's the height of that's the holy grail of collecting is to get the Du Jour album signed by all four of those guys.
That would be exactly. That's the holy grail right there. I mean, it's a perfect satire of the time too, especially with like boy band music, like how inappropriate all those fucking lyrics were, and they're all just on like at 3:00 in the afternoon as you're driving home. I remember I had a job, and my manager told me I couldn't listen to the Violent Femmes, and then they put on a top 40 station, like a 98 Degrees song came on. That's all like hypersexual and erotic, and I'm like, but we can listen to this, but because I listened to the Violent Femmes talking about taking a girl out for like, Dad, can I borrow the car tonight?
Yeah.
Like that was too much.
I had a similar experience at so they had Mormon dances, right, for the Mormon teens.
Yeah.
And so the music that they played there had to be pre-screened, okay? The lyrics had to be very finely combed through. And they would not let me play a Beastie Boys song because he said the word damn, okay? And I was very quick to point out that they had just played Third Eye Blind, whatever it's called.
Jumper? Oh,
no.
Semi-Charmed Kind of Life.
Yes, which is literally all about getting high on meth, having illicit sex, and like passing out on the beach in a stupor. He talks about coming. He talks about panties.
Yes.
He talks about all kinds of ridiculous shit. And I like brought the lyrics to them, and they were like, how easily you are deceived by Satan, my children. Because literally, because in the chorus he goes do 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 do. So all sins are absolved, right?
Well, that's exactly it, though. But it kind of gets to the core of what they're satirizing a little bit in Josie and the Pussycats. is that there's like an assumed safety and authority to whoever, a shadowy figures that are deciding what is on top 40 music, right?
And now we have confirmation that these people are literally all pedophiles, not an Alex Jones conspiracy theory. They get little kids to come into the entertainment industry early. They fucking abuse them. I'll never get over how creepy that video is of Ariana Grande on the ground when Dan What's-His-Face comes up with the camera. She tries to cover her breasts with her hair.
Yeah.
And she is so nervous she doesn't know what to say, and there are other friends like say something to the people who created this shit are all fucking perverts. And like you said, there's in the late 90s there was just this assumption that if the what is it, the ethics board, the censorship board, if they cleared it, if it doesn't have a parental advisory sticker, if it doesn't have a fucking Tipper Gore parental advisory sticker on it, it's okay to listen to. And yeah, these guys are talking about fucking, like Britney Spears lyrics on her first couple of albums.
Crazy.
Yeah, they're absolutely.
Dude, Hit Me Baby
obviously
One More
sexy.
Time. She was 16 years old. Hit Me Baby One More Time. 16 years old, dude. You're like, what the fuck? Like when you're an adult and you really think about that, you're like, holy shit.
And because it was the late 90s, and again, maybe people still do it now, but it was a time of like, oh well, yeah, I guess that's okay, and
because now it's wet ass pussy that people make those arguments about.
Right, because everything it grows exponentially, and yes, it's in the late 90s. It is still encoded. It is still
it's innuendo.
Come over and have my candy. Yeah, you know what I mean. Or even the Butcher Pete song, which is all innuendo. You know what I mean. But it's like now it is just. I'm going to talk about how many gallons are leaking out of my pussy right now.
I want to hear that song. How many gallons are leaking out of my pussy right now? Next week on Blues Clues.
Carmen, that's the weirdest Carmen Sandiego episode I've ever seen.
Where in the world? Yeah.
Just a fat black Carmen Sandiego with her pussy just popping out of some like.
Who vomits on herself or something shit.
Yeah.
Carmen Sandiego is in Oakland this week.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, Jeremy, did you find any of like the satire or anything like that effective? Like, I'm just kind of curious, just because you're of an age demographic that's not really super. You didn't grow up during this time. You were like literally a kid at this time. So,
yeah.
Did any of that work for you, or did it just kind of go in one ear out the other? Like,
I mean, at the time, like stuff like this would have gone in one ear, out the other.
I'm saying, right. I'm talking now, like as an adult.
Yeah,
coming back to
right. Watching this is great. I'm glad you guys have like bestowed this wonderful gem of a film, this wonderful lesbian romp onto my premises. No, but honestly, like
that was Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire was the lesbian romp.
Okay,
yeah, get it straight,
right. No. Honestly, like it didn't do anything like particularly new that I didn't already know or wasn't seeing in some other movies that were doing the same thing. However, I just enjoyed how it was just completely like spilling all the beans and just going for it and not even caring, really. And at a time when like that was like that, we saw that Roger Ebert review. At a time when like that was just not the safest or the easiest time to do that, but of course these like prestigious critics had something to say about a movie that is just trying to embrace the dumbness of it, but while still saying something.
Let's talk about that for a little bit. Let's talk about how apparently this went over everybody's head, which seems insane to me. Like I don't understand how this went over. It's not exactly subtle. Like
I mean, there's a bit where one of the characters says to another, "Why are you even here?" And her reply is, "I'm just here because I'm in the comic book." Yeah, and then they just drop it immediately.
Good old Missy
you know what
Pyle.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like you cannot construe this for a movie that's taking itself seriously for even a half a second.
No, you can't. And that's why I don't understand where the wires got crossed. It's almost like I feel like they didn't really watch it. And they kind of just took their talking points from somebody else, one of their buddies that watched it or something.
Honestly, I think the first 15 minutes of the movie just turned everybody off. You're immediately thrown into like the most obnoxious Backstreet Boys music video you've ever seen. Then you're thrown immediately into like an obnoxious pop punk girl band collage video. And so you're 9 minutes into the movie and you've watched two music videos for like two bands you probably don't like.
It could have been that an age thing, right? Like just the aggressive nature of it, like the MTV styling, everything they're sending up are just an anathema to like middle-aged people in 2001.
Yeah, it's so aggressive that I think that if you weren't either ready for it or expecting it, or you were maybe expecting something a little different from the trailers or something, as soon as the movie starts and you're on that roller coaster, you're like, I didn't expect this. I don't want to be here.
Well, it's almost like they reviewed the trailer. Like if you like they reviewed the movie that the trailer said it was and not the actual movie. I mean, I think there are plenty of legit critiques of this movie. One of them is not that it is that it's not self-aware. Like it is completely self-aware. It's constantly mugging and winking at the camera, like constantly. I don't understand how that's not like picked up on.
They break the fourth wall multiple times in this movie. Like they do just look at the camera at a certain point.
Yeah.
and it, like Rachel Lee Cook's expression, she has so many like dopey she literally is doing like a 40s campy send up like and like the part where she tries to push the big sound machine out of the studio, like her whole body language in that is like come on guys, you're gonna help me, like and Tara Reid clearly having the time of her fucking life, you know what I mean, playing this character Melody. And
well, because at the time she had actually had to like do like somewhat play straight characters. Like if you look at her character in American Pie, that's a straight character. Like she's not one of the funny characters, right? She's like the concerned girlfriend.
Right.
So it was probably fun to just like let loose.
And there's never any attempts to make the protagonist the hero or anything. I mean, Josie like stumbles from one thing to another. She's an idiot, you know, and then at the end, it's just like a cat fight between her and then for some reason Tara Reid knows kung fu like out of nowhere really good. Like little shit like that. Like I don't understand why. I just had too much fun with it to really get why people were so down about it. You know?
I got you.
And for me, that was what was so refreshing about so many aspects about this movie was that like this owns in on like everything I like about the feminine quality about these kinds of movies. This is why I did not like Barbie, because this movie actually like taps into like all of those tropes and owns it and has fun with it. The cat fights, the girls screeching, the capitalism of it. Just like everything, like they're just having so much fun. I'm like, where was that in Barbie? It was nowhere to be seen.
No,
barely.
Even though Barbie is a very silly, zany movie, it actually takes itself very seriously.
Right, yeah.
But this doesn't, and I wish that is probably my biggest complaint of the movie. I wish it took itself a little bit more seriously, so that it would have just been a better movie. Because I appreciate what it's getting at. Like I enjoy the satire of it. Like I enjoy all the stuff with the product placement and the subliminal messages, and I'm super into that kind of stuff just as a person in general. So it was fun to see it filtered through this kind of lens. I just wish that they made a better movie. That's that's honestly what I always go back to, because there are so many things about it that I do like that I just don't think really necessarily lands, and I lay that at the feet of the directors. Like when I said earlier, Mick G, the guy who directed the first two Charlie's Angels movies, would have killed this movie. He would have nailed it, because Charlie's Angels is that kind of movie where it is a satire, where it is a send up, but it does a pretty good job of doing the thing that it's like making fun of. Just saying. I'm telling you, Charlie's Angels is like a pop masterpiece.
It's I guess keep talking about it, and I'm gonna have to watch that movie one day.
Oh, if you
I'm not seeing it.
enjoyed Josie and the Pussycats, Charlie's Angels is a super fun
It's
movie,
fun.
and you'll
Super
see
fun.
you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you watch it because you'll see it.
Well, I can see now, and of course, I can never watch this movie without like returning to 16-year-old eyes and having
Yeah,
a
of
lot of
course.
nostalgia for it. But as an adult, I can see how it doesn't live up to its own potential. And I did find myself at the end sort of waiting for it to be over because, like you said, after about 35 minutes, it's not going anywhere.
No, it
It's
doesn't.
just like we're gonna do more bits, and
I wish
know
the
what I
plot
mean?
if the plot was more involving, you'd just be more invested in anything that's happening, but nothing really happens because it's intentionally being generic. And I get that's part of the critique, but then you're just something that's kind of generic. Like you didn't get away from that, you know? I mean, even the way the movie ends and deals with the love interest is like incredibly generic. And I get that that's part of the point, but it still is generic.
Yeah, like even down to like near the end when they throw in the like simple lines like, guys, I know I know we're having an emotional moment here, but we got like 5 minutes before we got to be on stage. Come on now.
That's how it is. That's how it is when you're in a band, Jeremy. Oftentimes you're going to have the most brutal arguments ever, and then you're going to get out of the car and be like, let's unload the fucking shit. Just get it on the fucking stage. I want to go home.
Right.
It sounds like Zubov's Prime.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It was like Zubok's Prime. It's exactly how it was. But yeah. I mean, did you guys think that the humor holds up? I mean, I definitely chuckled my way through the movie, but I feel like I was chuckling at the things that don't draw attention to itself because there's tons of just like stuff happening in the background that the movie doesn't really draw your attention to, which I thought was very cool. Yeah. But the actual jokes, like the surface level funny stuff, is really bad.
Well, I'm like enamored with the set design, like the whole Target.
Yeah, the Target plane, the Target hotel room,
the McDonald's, themed bathroom. It was giving me like actual, the plush. Like, dude, it was giving me like an actual like stress attack. Like I could not be in a room like that for more than 5 minutes.
That's what happened to Du Jour.
The private jet that Du Jour is on, it doesn't just have the Target advertisements. There's like a case with like detergent in it, as if there's like an advertisement.
No, that they literally just tape to the wall. Yeah. Like you watch it on DVD. I watched it on this new crisp Blu-ray, and you can see the seams of where they tape things to the wall. Like they were literally just putting stickers on the wall. Yeah,
they're probably like, because it has the vibe of like if we had made a movie and we were really into the humor of it. It'd be really funny is if it had a case on the wall that had like something, and then they'd quickly get that up on the wall.
And then we would look at each other and be like, and then we never mention it, dude. Then we never mention it. It's just there, and it's just funny.
Right. I think it has the vibe of the actors and the directors and the cast, or the crew, kind of being at camp while they're filming. Like, it seems
it has
they had a lot of fun while they were doing it.
It has a scrappy, independent quality to it. That's why I was kind of shocked that the budget was as much as it is. I mean, I think I agree with you. I think a lot of that probably went to the music and hiring. They hired real bands, real singers to come and not only teach the girls but produce the songs for the movie. So I'm sure that was a big part of their budget. But the surface humor, like the actual, like the jokes, very rarely ever landed for me. Very, very rarely.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to show you guys one right now. We're going to watch one right now. This is it holds a special place in my heart because of Aries Spears.
Eddie Murphy? Eddie told me if I see you, I want them Josie girls dead, right? To get on my nerves, I want them dead.
Now, the thing that makes that funny to me is because it's so sad that they hired Aries Spears, and they're just like, yeah, just do some impressions, dude.
This part was rough. I will say, like, I was not on board for all of this.
Now I understand why Aries Spears is one of the Zubok spokespeople. This is where he was at.
Yeah.
I can't believe you're a killer. You seem so nice on TV.
Really? I always thought you were kind of hot.
Too bad.
Fun fact: Tara Reid and Carson Daly started dating after this movie. Little factoid for you.
For how
I
long?
always thought you were kind of hot
For how long? Who can say? Who can say?
too.
You did? What's your sign?
Scorpio.
Cancer. The pussycats. The pussycats. I gotta kill you. Good Lord.
What was that?
Chris Rock.
That was a terrible Chris Rock. Why do you even bother doing impressions? You're not funny.
Hey, this was a really
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, actually.
There's a lot of truth in what was just said there, Shaun. Harry Spears is not funny, and he can't do impressions. But no, see, like this scene, like this made me bust out laughing, not because the scene itself is funny, Shaun.
No, it's the
but
meta.
because I had completely forgotten about it, and I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, this is the part where like Harry Spears comes out pretending to be Carson Daly and then does impressions while he's trying to kill Rosario."
Yes.
It makes so little sense that being reminded of its like existence actually put a grin on my face.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
you're correct. There's the scene itself is tedious. You want it to be over.
Oh, and that happens a lot in this movie where they basically do the same jokes like 3 or 4 times in a row. Like if you go back to the du jour scene in the plane when they're all bickering with each other before they decide to let the plane crash, it's like the same scenario 3 times. They just let every character do it where they're annoyed with each other for some small minutia or something. You know, they say, "Oh, he took my look," or "He took my style," or "He took my phrase." They do that joke 3 times. Like you don't need to do it 3 times. You just do it 1 time and figure out a way to involve everybody in it. Time is money.
For me, the joke was that the one that landed was that the fact that they were going to be on TR, or they thought they were going to be on TRL. That was like it. That was the joke, you know.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of kept expanding more and
Well,
more.
the first one is fine.
Yeah.
When I think is it Seth Green or Breckin Myers being like, "Yo, I do this.
Yeah.
I do this thing. That's my thing." And now he's been doing that too. You got to tell him to stop doing that. Like that was funny. Like that's fine. That's all you need. I didn't need to hear like Seth Green also opine about something. And then the other guy who's actually, if it wasn't Parker Posey as my secret MVP, it is like the unknown du jour guy. The one that I have no idea who he is and the one that's like not really beat up at the end. Because that did make me laugh. It made me laugh because it's exactly the type of joke I would have made at 16. Where he's like, "Thank God I knew the lyrics to Enter Sandman. Otherwise I'd look like those guys back there."
Can I give out my quick secret MVP?
Yeah, of course.
Missy Pyle as Alexandra. I guess one of the fans. Anytime she shows up in a movie, she just has like some of the best comedic timing. It's her face. I just like she's got like those crazy
funny
eyes.
Face.
Yeah,
She's got a funny looking face, dude.
Yeah. I didn't know she was in this, but she was hilarious.
She was great in Gone Girl. Have you guys seen Gone Girl?
Yeah.
She plays like a Nancy Grace type
That's right.
person, and she kills it. She like nails it.
Yeah.
I don't know, Dan. Who's your secret MVP? Do you have a secret MVP off the top of the noggin?
I think I agree with you. I think I was most pleased upon the rewatching. I was most pleased with Parker Posey's performance. But is that a secret MVP?
Not really. Yeah, she's not really a secret MVP because she's part of the main cast. I would give it to the unknown du jour. The unknown du jour guy is the one that would get he gets my secret MVP.
I want to go with Mr. Movie Phone Guy.
The guy that does the subliminal messages?
Yeah, that's probably
nice. There you go. Actually, the government spook he's pretty good. He's all right.
I do like that guy, and I like how at the end they did exactly what they're doing to Puff Daddy right now, where they have to have a fall guy out front. They're like, "Oh, you were doing what, Puff Daddy? No."
You're under arrest for crimes against the youth of America.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and that's another thing with the villain characters. I guess they do get a little bit of a moment where they foreshadow the fact that they were like high school dorks a little bit, And Parker Posey's performance is so good, like, because she is that, like, I guess in the modern parlance would be the pick-me girl. And when she gets together with the girls and she wants to have her, like, her girls' night when they first come to her party, it's great. It's a great scene.
You feel a twinge of sadness and pathos for the villain. You know,
you feel bad for her a little bit.
Yeah.
You pity her as Bilbo pitied Smeagol.
What do we think of Mr. Alan Cummings?
Well,
oh God, Alan Cummings is fucking awesome in everything.
This is true.
Yeah, this is like probably one of the most gayest performances I've seen of him in like recent years. I don't.
Yeah, because the guy is such a queen, but in movies he's very rarely a queen.
yeah.
Like if you watch, he's hosts a reality show that my wife and I just started watching called The Traitors, and he's so like gay and gregarious and dramatic. And it just makes me laugh so much. Like I really annoy my wife because I'm always just trying to like do that like Scottish brogue that he has, like his regular voice. It's me, like, Alan Cummings. The way he like traitor.
The way he just like flips up that cell phone, like, "Hello, I'm gonna see if we're gonna make this happen or not." He's just
he does a lot. He's got a lot of business to do, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I think that he. Actually, if anybody carries the movie, it's Alan Cummings.
Yeah.
Well, he's the most consistent. He's there from the beginning to the end. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I might give him a little more credit than that, but no. I mean, he sells his character, and you know, he's there. Like if you had a. Like you need a good actor in that part, and like the Parker Posey character, like you need good actors being those characters because those characters are so obnoxious and unlikable.
Yeah, they're so broad. You have to have a good actor to be able to do that.
Yeah, and you know, you need like it needs to be somebody you want to watch and who's going to be entertaining underneath all of that, and be able to sort of like, well, like you said, like pull a character out of that broadness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to try to find something tangible in that, in the silliness, in the cartoon character. And I think Parker Posey and Alan Cummings actually kind of have a knack for that. I mean, I know it maybe it's a weird movie to bring up. Have you guys ever seen Spy Kids? He's the villain the villain in the first Spy Kids, and he does that. He has a very over-the-top, broad, cartoony character that he somehow kind of finds a way to humanize and ground.
Well, it's like Raul Julia with M. Bison. Like anybody else would have tanked that. I mean, tanked that. But he
so
elevated it.
That is a great.
He elevated it to. It's like a classic. It's a classic campy performance, man.
Honestly, like he would have fit right in the Josie and the Pussycats movie. Honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, he would have been able to play Alan Cummings' character perfect.
Dude, I just want him to be M. Bison, and then he just shows up at the end of the movie, and they have to battle him.
Kicks everybody's ass, dude.
And then it turns into Charlie's Angels at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Charlie's Angels come in. Let's bring it in. Let's bring everybody in.
You're right.
Then the Ghostbusters show up, and it gets really weird. And then Scott Pilgrim shows up to really bring the satire full circle.
Yeah.
When I do like freeform bedtime stories with my son, he was like, and then the Transformers show up. I'm like, oh shit! Now I gotta add those guys to the story.
What was Megatron doing there? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He drove there.
He'll pull some shit on me to try to get the extension. I'll be like, and then they killed all the zombies and they solved all the problems and blah blah blah. And then he'll be like, and then all the zombies came back alive again. I'm like, you're not getting 5 more minutes of story time. It's time for
Yeah.
Because you think they're asleep, and then you realize, oh, they're still listening to me, and then they poke their heads up, like, hey, where are you going? That happens to me all the time with my son. He's like mastered this like stillness, and whenever I'm reading, and then I'll think he's asleep, and I'll wait like 2 minutes and just kind of hang out, and he always just pops his head up. Where are you going? No, you need to read. You need to read some more. God damn it! I just want to go watch Josie and the Pussycats, son. Don't you understand?
Seriously, I want to go listen to the soundtrack.
Here, listen to the commentary track, son.
But yeah, I mean, watching it, I was like, this is going to be a quick episode of Zoobox.
Well, yeah, there's like it's kind of like the movie. Like once you, once you get through the first act, you're like, well, that's kind of the movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's like it's a zany send up of the entertainment industry and its brainwashing of kids. Boom, you got it. There's the episode. Sorry, Jeremy, what were you going to say?
No, I was gonna say like so the average letterbox response to this film has definitely changed.
Yeah, because
over the last couple years,
it had a big critical reappraisal 2 years ago.
Right. After they reunited and everything and had their moments. Everybody's like now like preaching like, oh, this is the next best like. I don't even. Yeah, LGBTQ anti-capitalist movie,
of course,
about all that sort of stuff, and like they are overpraising it now, and also people are getting Paul Rubens and Alan Cumming mixed up. Like they seem to not forget that those are two separate actors, and not one of them is not in this movie. So,
oh really? Wow.
Yeah, that shows the age demographic of people that are like writing these reviews of the movie. But
well, because there's a whole new generation discovering this stuff for the first time now.
Yeah,
and it feels kind of like a subversive hidden gem.
Yeah,
just for the fact that it is sending up something that they're familiar with.
Yeah.
But it's not surprising to me, though, its esteem has raised. I mean, like I watched some of the Q&As, those reunion videos that you sent our way, Profitt, and it's almost like they were trying really hard to insist that no, this is actually a cult classic that is beloved.
Right.
They were selling that really hard. Somebody said, "Oh, here's one of the top reviews on Letterboxd, which is basically communist film fans."
Yeah.
Lucy, I'm sure Jeremy knows who Lucy is. R.I.P. Karl Marx. You would have loved Josie and the Pussycats. 5 stars. Josie and the Pussycats is the best movie ever.
The Pussycats.
Josie's the Pussycats.
Pussycats. Du jour means seatbelts. Du jour means crash positions. Yeah, I'm not. Dude, I can't find a review that's under 4 stars. Where's one? 3 stars.
There's a couple in there, but like you have to like search. It's tough.
Yeah, people have been brainwashed. They have been brainwashed by the cult of Josie and the Pussycats.
It's that time validates all profit takes, and time has validated this one. Same thing happened with Attack of the Clones. That came out the same year, Shaun. Okay, and I was saying to you, I said the same damn thing. This is a classic. And in 20 years, people are going to remember this fondly. And you said, no, you're an idiot. Look at me now.
No, I don't think I said that because you were so aggressive. You're like standing on the hood of your car being like, I don't want to hear it. I don't care if you didn't like it. Trembling says, reappraisals are usually rotten and wrongheaded and started because some lame brain video essayist made a video on whatever it is. And that definitely happened a couple years ago with Josie and the Pussycats. There's about 50 20-minute YouTube videos that are all about the secret subtext of Josie and the Pussycats, which it's not so secret.
It's not secret. It's right there.
It's yeah.
I mean,
it's not
like
even subtext. It's literal text. They write on the screen. Join the army.
It's honestly, it's kind of the start of that bullshit where writers forgot how to write subtext, and they're like, no.
Oh, didn't know we lost Shaun.
Confused.
Yeah,
no.
yeah, there we go. We're good.
Oh, did I dip out?
You're good now. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You started speaking too much truth, and they cut you off.
Yeah, and then the government tried to stop me.
They pulled the Hodges on you.
They did. They fucking hodged me, dude. I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna look at the YouTube after this. I'm gonna find out my channel has been deleted. The mystery goes deeper and deeper.
You started going on a Garth Marenghi subtext rant, and that's what set it off.
God.
Yeah,
it is the best. It is the best quote ever. I know writers who use subtext, and they're all cowards.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Garth Marenghi, Dan?
No.
Garth Marenghi's Dark Place is like this guy who pretends he does like a knockoff Stephen King, and it's like a show from the 80s that's been lost that was based on his work. And he's such like an egomaniac. He wrote the show, he stars in the show, and it's like a send up of really bad, like kind of horror soap operas of the 70s and 80s. And it is amazing. It's so good. Because part of it is also a retrospective at the same time. So you see interviews with the people in current day as they reflect on the show they made in the 80s. And it's amazing. And that's one of the lines. I know writers who use subtext and they're all cowards. It's really good. Tremling says, I'm being hacked in real time. Yes, that's another one. But yeah, I mean, I've exhausted my notes. Oh, no, I didn't actually. I'm sorry. Josie and the Josie's boyfriend. We have not talked about Josie's boyfriend or her agent, who Gabriel Mann is the love interest.
Not James Spader, who looks a lot like him.
Dude, that was my note. I said not James Spader, not Beck. I kind of wish when I was watching it, I was hoping. And I was thinking to myself, if I did it, I probably would have made the boyfriend like a villain, like a secret villain that reveals itself at the end of the movie. Like he's one of the people that are pushing the Pussycats into like certain modes of behavior and kind of breaking the band up a little bit, use him as a cudgel. Because that also would be a great commentary satire on teen romantic comedies of the era. But no such luck. If only they had asked me, if only they had talked to me, I could have done a great punch up on the script. A great punch up. Maybe when Tara Reid finally gets the rights, maybe she'll let me helm Josie and the Pussycats too. Wet ass pussies.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Thank you.
WAP.
WAP.
I can't remember much from the cartoon, but yeah, Josie's the only one that has like a side story love interest narrative going on. The other two are just kind of like left in the dark the whole movie.
Just
yeah.
Well, they actually. Well, I mean, I guess
everybody
everybody kind of gets a little bit of their moment, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Rosario Dawson's the supportive friend. That's what she is up until the end of the movie. Tara Reid is
the doofus.
She's just the doofus.
Yeah.
Rachel Lee Cook gets all the action.
Yeah,
as she should. You know.
Damn right.
So how are you going to be? Now you have a few days left, Dan. Now you could totally get this record signed. Apparently, she's signing records? You can send them to her.
Oh yeah, FOMO is getting me hard because the window's closing on that, and you pull the trigger or you don't. You know what I mean?
When it comes to Rachel Lee Cook autographs, you're either in or you're out.
I think I need to, the collector bug is not a good thing.
No, it's not. It makes you feel sick to your stomach. You can't even enjoy it.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think that's it. I think I need to sacrifice something beautiful in order to break the
NECA queen.
No, exactly.
She could be my NECA queen. Hopefully NECA doesn't put on any Josie and the Pussycats figures, because then we're going to be in some real trouble.
God, you'll never see me again. But no, I didn't even, I only had got the idea because I saw one on eBay that was already done up by all of them but Tara Reid. And I was like, oh, that's a wicked cool idea. And then I was like, yeah, but that's not a great one either. But then I just looked. I was like, but how does that even work? Because like that's one corner of like collecting that I never. Like my brother used to send baseball cards off to get them autographed and stuff. And back in the day, you just fucking mail somebody a baseball card, and they'd get like their assistant to pretend to autograph it or whatever. These days, you have to go through like accredited institutions that put like a holographic sticker on your shit and do all this stuff. I'm like, this sounds really cool and also completely worthless. Like I've never gotten the appeal of that particular aspect of collecting, but it reminded me of it, and I was like, I kind of like checked out the webpage and I was like, holy shit, like people, dude, the people they have on their signing are folks I have never heard of in my goddamn life.
Oh yeah.
and they all like. But it's interesting that they have a economy built around it now, where like there are people who are, I guess, trusted sources where you can go and actually have it done and everything.
Well, a lot of these people, they actually do them, and they'll do them live. Like they'll live stream them. There's services that they'll just do live streams, like signings. So they're just signing a bunch of stuff while they're answering questions. I can't remember one of the outfits. It's like Fansly or something like that. Because I've seen a lot of television actors, people like Tara Reid, people that kind of have, I guess, lost their luster, lost their fame a little bit. You know, they're the kind of people that end up at Comic-Cons.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like which is really common apparently. Like I didn't realize like how many actors actually go to like conventions, because I've never been much of a convention guy, but I bet you like Rachel Lee Cook and them, I bet you they go to conventions.
Probably, because what else are they going to do?
I mean, they're not producing hit music anymore, so.
Yeah, they're hanging out with Star Trek actors to go to these conventions.
And Ernie Hudson, okay? Ernie Hudson's big on the convention circuit. Apparently he's a favorite. He's a fan favorite. Yeah. He dresses up like the Ghostbusters.
Oh,
he
really?
Takes pictures, he takes pictures with people. He loves it.
Yeah, I bet he does too. I would too. Why the hell wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? You were in fucking Ghostbusters. Like, you made a movie that is universally beloved and will probably stand the test of time and never really be forgotten.
Yeah, and now you don't have to go to work again ever.
Well, unless you're going to conventions to charge people $40 a picture. Other than that,
yeah, Ernie Hudson. I know this because I looked it up. Ernie Hudson has a net worth of $5 million. He does not need to go to conventions.
Yeah, I saw Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. I know.
He did it.
You know, one thing I was going to bring up when we were talking about it in relative to Ernie Hudson, but you kept cutting out, was that Ernie Hudson plays like this hyper wealthy guy, and you were talking about like how it's like in the old firehouse in the old dirty basement where the ghost trap thing is. It's like, why didn't he fix that? Why doesn't he, like, they talk about his engineers. He has like these Ghostbusters that work for him, developing technology.
Yeah, they show up with like all kitted out with like nice clothes and uniforms. And
yeah, just a bunch of people to see for 5 minutes and then never see again.
Yeah.
Almost like the legacy characters probably could have done those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
I don't think that Ghostbusters Frozen Empire was in the business of slowing down to explain those kinds of things, Shaun.
Those bastards.
Look, just cast Ernie Hudson as Wyatt in the next Josie and the Pussycats movie, and then we're set. Yeah, we got the ball rolling here.
Yeah, I want Ernie Hudson to come back. I want him to be like the new record producer. Like he's the new head of Virgin Records. Or whatever record company. I don't even know what record companies are out there anymore. I have no idea. The Sun Pop's still out there?
It would be, I forget which one of you guys said it, but it would be a clever sequel to do of like 20 years later, like a VH1 behind the music of Josie and the Pussycats. But again, it would run into the same issue that the first movie had, which that the premise does not exceed a 22-minute long television show. Like
that's what kind of would be perfect if it was couched in a VH1 behind the music, because it could be like 40 minutes.
Right. It could be a Netflix thing.
I honestly might as well, right? Listen, President Hollywood, if you want some ideas, me and Profitt, we could cook up a script.
Bro, sell the shit to Tara Reid. You're not doing anything with it.
Yeah.
Her and Warren Beatty become best friends.
Yeah.
Like, we're not letting it go. Nobody making a Josie and the Pussycats or a Dick Tracy movie.
That was the second thing I thought. The first thing I thought was, oh wow, if Tara Reid had done that, I guess that would have been kind of interesting. But like, where would they have gone for the sequel? And then the next immediate thought that I had was Warren Beatty, like sitting in front of the camera, all puffy, doing a Christmas special, in a yellow hat,
talking to the guy from Turner Classic Movies. Yeah, that's what they did. It was like a Zoom call with Dick Tracy. That's what it was called.
And the next hip thing.
And like I can see Tara Reid doing a Zoom call. Okay, so this is what it's Tara Reid as her character from Josie and the Pussycats doing a Zoom call with Rachel Lee Cook and Rosario Dawson, who aren't getting paid enough to go back into character. So like very awkwardly,
She's
Tara
trying to get
Reid's
lines
still,
out
like,
of them.
yeah, but like in the Dick Tracy thing, isn't there one where Warren Beatty comes out and starts interacting with Dick Tracy?
Yeah, it's the most recent one from a couple years ago.
Yeah, so we can get into all kinds of territory. I just look, you got to get Tara on the phone.
We can
Okay,
get,
I've been trying.
be like,
I've been trying
Tara,
for weeks.
Tara, we got a meta stew going on here. We can make a meta satire that satirizes the movie, the response to the movie. Tara, it's gonna be crazy.
Right.
Yes, you're goddamn right. We're gonna have Target paraphernalia in the background, of course.
Now, but first things
You'll
first.
like it.
Here's the silver ink pen. Sign this record, okay? Right now.
Exactly.
Or we will beat you bloody. Do you understand?
Or I'm gonna take my laptop and my Final Cut Pro program and I'm leaving. I'm not gonna be writing your script, Tara. That's all we want too, is just to get Dan's record signed.
That's it.
That's our movie. That's what's happening in our movie.
Yeah. We spent $35 million just to accomplish that goal.
It's just it'll be like that movie Fanboys, but instead of a pilgrimage to Lucasfilms, we make a pilgrimage to Tara Reid's house to get Dan's record signed before he dies of cancer.
Yeah. It's gonna happen any day now, probably.
Dude, actually, honestly, that would be hilarious. Us at our current age, like
me dying of cancer.
No, in a van, and that's the movie is just about us trying to get all the signatures of the Josie and the Pussycats girls, being like gross, fat, middle-aged men,
and like trying to actually, like, I don't have cancer, but trying to make them think that I do. And it's like that bit that Jacob Wall and Jack Berkman did when he was on the hunger strike.
Yes, exactly like that. And we'll like try to hand you something, it'll be too heavy for you. Be like, and they'll be like, "Oh, what's wrong?" He's got cancer.
We're gonna bring Dan out for just a minute and a half. You can ask him one question.
Yeah, I know.
We'll be back.
I'd appreciate it if you called the police back because this means a lot to him, and he's gonna die any day now. And I know. Yeah, fat, and he's not bald, but hey, listen, those are details. You're Josie and the Pussycats. You don't care about details.
Right. He says you used to love him. What happened?
Yeah, and your few cancerous death knells, your last breaths, you just recollect a past that never was. And that's
I'm believing my own memes.
Yeah, it's kind of like at the end of Raising Arizona, when they go through like what will happen in the future.
So then you're there in the real world, and you're like, look, just go in and look at the guy's shelf for a minute, okay? Just look at the shelf, act like you're impressed, and then we can get you out of here.
They all walk into your fallout shelter, and they see all the toys and the records and the posters, and then a Josie and the Pussycat song starts playing as the camera slowly moves around them, looking at all the toys. If only they hadn't been so stuck up, they could have gotten to know you, and it's sad.
Fucking bitches. It's their fault.
The legacy lives on. Just cares.
No, it doesn't, Jeremy, because now Dan is dead. And they never got to enjoy the pleasure of his company. Not really.
Yeah.
I'd say I die right there like Walter White. I just like die on the floor. And they're kind of just like awkwardly looking down.
But there's just nobody there to like actually.
While you're just like, breathily slurring the words like 3 more hours.
Yeah, exactly.
2 more days.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way it should have ended. That's the way it could have ended.
Trembling says NECA, Josie and the Pussycats have to drop their tour halfway through because they're all pregnant with interspecies babies. The truth is
I end up in one of those videos that when like the nerds go to Target and they find the scalper with like 10 boxes, they put them on blast.
Yeah,
that's gonna be me when they release that line.
I want, or we could do something like a weird science type thing with the NECA toys, and like you accidentally bring them to life by doing too many contributes. And then we have a weird science situation.
So much of my essence gets imbued; it becomes a cellular being.
And you have to explain to your wife, like, who are they? Why are they in the basement?
But they don't know anything. Like, they don't know who they are. So you have to like teach them. You know what I mean? Exactly. You got to show them there, and you got to watch the movie with them a bunch.
Like, this is who you are. This is who you are. This is who I fell in love with, Josie.
Exactly. And you're not going anywhere. There's plenty of canned corn down here, honey. You're going to be just fine.
We got to get living down here for 10 years. 10 years.
Profitt, you got to add more Kino to your collection, though, too. Like, even if you don't like it, even if you don't want it, you just got to throw a couple more in there. Like him training, at least.
Well, as I explained in the foot soldier video of recent, I have found out that the foot soldier that comes with the Kino is a slight variant. Okay, so this is a big fucking deal. You know what I mean? This is how they get you.
It is. Okay? These fuckers, dude, they're devious. I mean, the Josie and the Pussycat movie, they make a lot of good points. That's all I'm saying. You catch that bug, you can feel the social contagion too. Because as soon as Dan like opened that door, I started feeling it too. Like the gravity was pulling me towards like consume, buy something. And then I bought
Look at what is next to you, Shaun.
Yeah, and then I bought this, and this is what happened. And I ended up buying this Giants Super Mario Brothers thing. Which Jeremy, yours is going to be in the mail tomorrow.
Oh, sweet. Thank you.
Dude, I saw some suggested advertisement of a like 6 or 7 or 9 disc Terminator Blu-ray set, and it's in like a bust of the T8000 or the T800. It's in just a bust, and I'm thinking to myself, first of all, if I had money, I'd buy that for Shaun. Second of all, where the fuck is Shaun gonna put that when he gets it? Where do you put these?
That's what I thought when I saw it. I was like, I have nowhere to put this.
Or like, did you? I think I said it's like a sculpture of Sylvester Stallone in Demolition Man when he's getting frozen.
Yeah,
and it's just like it's like a 2.5 foot tall, perfectly rendered lifelike sculpture of naked Sylvester Stallone. And it was $5,000. Okay.
Yeah, it's a conversation piece. He put it in the middle of a room.
Yeah, right. Like, where do you slap that thing?
Dude, like, if I was like one of these disgustingly wealthy people, like if I, when I decide to become a MAGA rapper and because I want to make money, like I'll be like one of those guys, and I'll have something like that in my mansion in a room that nobody ever goes into, just in the center of the room, making sure the light cascades on it just so.
You know? Yeah, like a modern art museum where all the walls are just like perfectly white. Everything's just white, and then there's like track lighting going exactly. And you said it's a whole room in your house dedicated just to the Sly statue.
Yeah, exactly.
And you walk in, and like the score of Demolition Man is playing lightly on a speaker that's ensconced in the wall.
Yeah, with just like little like lines from the movie, just kind of hearing echoing in the walls.
And like in every once in a while it'll play one of the vintage commercials that's from the radio station that Sandra Bullock likes.
Yeah, the jingles. Dude. Yep.
Yeah, you could spend $25,000 making this room.
The only thing that will be on the bare wall will be written in spray paint, like kind of LA graffiti, bombed out 1997 LA graffiti style. Send a maniac to catch a maniac. Just scrawled on the wall. Yeah.
And then after you've been in there for a few minutes and you've completed taking in the statue, the room like instantaneously fills with that foam, that like safety foam.
Exactly. Yeah. It has to be that way. I mean, if you're going to do something, do it right. That's all I got to say. Trummick says, Josie and the Pussycats versions of those Japanese holograms like that guy married. That's also a possibility. Everything is kind of on the table to fulfill this fantasy for Dan before he dies of cancer. Trummick says, how about a sculpture like that, but of Kathy Bates climbing out of the hot tub in About Schmidt? Listen, if I had resources, if I had money, I would probably be like a weirdo like that, and that would just be out in my garden. Like, you know how you have like the the angels peeing or whatever. It would be me with Kathy Bates, like with her giant vagina as she has one leg up trying to get out of the hot tub, just squirting water backwards. Yeah.
No, I don't know. I'll tell you what I want. I want a $15,000 1/4 size sculpture of Meteor Man.
Oh, there
moving his arms, moving his arms really fast and stopping all the meteors.
Holy shit, Meteor Man! My God, that takes me back. That was during people talking about black representation. You never hear anybody bring up Meteor Man. He's been there all along. He's been there all along.
Right. Wesley Snipes sopping up all the attention for the first black superhero comic bullshit. Okay, Meteor Man was there.
He was always there, and so was Blank Man, by the way. Blank Man is also in the
Blank
mix.
Man, yes.
Dude, I watched Blank Man last year. Me and Foster watched it. Dude, it was so much fun. That movie is so dumb.
So see, Sean, you can turn your brain off for that, but not for Josie.
Well, no, because not Meteor Man. I mean, Blank Man actually has like trackable arcs and characters that go through things. There's a story that you can kind of follow, invest in a little bit, even if you wanted to. I mean, they killed their grandma, Dan. I mean, it's pretty harrowing stuff.
For all their foibles, the Wayans brothers are actually professional writers, so they wouldn't stand for.
I mean, I grew up on the Wayans brothers, so I think I have like a partiality towards like their particular brand of juvenile humor. Although Scary Movie was tough to go back to. Scary Movie.
No,
was
there's too much trash in their lineup for me to actually make the claim that I was going to make. But I mean, they did do In Living Color, for God's sake. There was
exactly.
At one point they were making good comedy. They know what good writing actually is.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. But I don't know. They just got into that parody world, and they just never left. They kind of
and that was like a bad world to get into, dude. That was like my least favorite genre.
I mean, because they got trapped by their own success, basically. I mean, they make Scary Movie as a lark, and it ends up just blowing up, and they just, that ends up being kind of what they did for a while.
Yeah, it should have been. You're right. It should have been like a lark in their career, like that. And if it had been just that, like Scary Movie would have gone down as like a classic comedy of all time. But instead, it was watered down by its own franchise. I guess, as was the careers of the Wayans brothers.
It's just too bad. I've always had a thing for the Wayans brothers. I don't know what they're doing nowadays. Doesn't seem like they're doing very much of anything.
They're probably getting reparations.
I'm ready for a resurgence for any of them, honestly.
I always like their story, though, because when they're Keenan Ivory Wayans, who's the oldest one, he's kind of like the patriarch of the brothers. When he got famous, he got a TV deal. His mother made him take his brothers. His mother was just like, nope, they're going to be on that show, Keenan. And he was like, all right, mama. And then they became the Wayans brothers. Trembling says, it depends on which Wayans brother. Well, there is definitely one of them that's not as funny. It's the one that works a lot. I think his name is Shaun Wayans, actually.
I think Damon Wayans is the one with like true talent.
Damon Wayans is amazing. Dude, Homie the Clown?
Yes,
Damon is. Or even some of his comedies, dude, like Major Payne. I mean, that movie's...
Oh, yes.
My
favorite Damon Wayans character is the intellectual black dude in jail who's like, the sublimation of the sublimation when you come to the nation is another nation. That is hands down my favorite character.
But that was the cool thing about, I guess, the Wayans brothers writ large, is that they would send up black culture in a way that was like... they were endeared about it, but they weren't concerned with like pointing out some of its flaws, I suppose, for lack of a better way to put it. And they were okay with acknowledging that. They didn't have to pretend like it was, they're like, no, this is kind of scummy. Like these pimps are not cool. If you go back and watch I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. Have you guys ever seen that? That's a classic. It's a classic.
I remember I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. I've never sat down and watched the whole thing, but I remember it.
Oh, dude, you guys should seriously watch that at some point. It is a very funny movie. That is a very funny satire. I mean, it has the same problem that all satires have, where the joke starts running thin by the end, but it's pretty good.
Well, look, I hate to say running thin at the end, but I don't have any more notes on that. Hey, look, everybody knows how I feel about this. Okay, I was the original OG. Josie and the Pussycats stan. Twice in the theater, had the CD soundtrack, got it on vinyl when it came out, and now you guys are literally just coming up behind with this sort of Spice World theory.
I can't remember.
Wild allegations.
I wanted to rewatch Spice World before we had this conversation. I used to have it on DVD, and I don't anymore. And that was about the end of it. I didn't look that hard, but I wanted to, just because I know that they're kind of similar movies in a certain respect. But I feel like Spice World has a little bit more like pep to it. Like this movie is lacking a little pep. That's like an energy. I don't know.
Well, again, it needs a little bit more length, and I don't normally say that about movies like this, but it needs at least another 15, 20 minutes to kind of establish something.
You should have spent more time with the girls before they got famous, essentially.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because there's like that whole scene where they're all like eating different meals when they're met up for the first time. Like one of them's eating like ramen with like the biggest fucking chopsticks.
Like, well, because dude, they're 20-somethings.
They don't have
talking about. That's what 20-somethings do. That's what 20-somethings do, my dude.
Bro, it's her body. It's her choice. She gets to choose what she's having for lunch.
Yeah. There.
Okay. I mean, come on, dude. Wake up. It's 2024, Jeremy. I mean, I can imagine somebody saying something like that in 2001, but
it's not 2001 anymore. No.
Now we have to accept it. Yeah. Well, I think that's good. That's it for me. Like, I don't really have any comments to make about the film. I did, I will say this. It was fun revisiting it. I hadn't seen it since it came out. I did enjoy it for what it was, even if I do think it's kind of flawed. But it was a little ahead of its time. It was.
As owners of this movie, I don't own the movie. Did either of you listen to the commentary track for this?
Yeah, I did.
And
it's very matter of fact.
Okay.
And it's just basically just walking you through the things that you can observe with your eyes.
Okay.
I was surprised. I was surprised with what a dry commentary track it was. Austin, we got Austin in the chat. He says, hello. Trelling says, which Spice Girl did you used to want? I wanted the Dykey one because she was attainable. I used to have a thing for Ginger Spice.
I was scary for some reason.
Well, they were together, so I guess that makes sense. They were in a secret lesbian love affair.
This was I didn't read I didn't listen to the commentary, Jeremy, but this is the commentary that I got. This whole deal. This is interviews with the director and the producer and Rachel Lee Cook and everything. Okay.
Very nice.
So I read through this pretty thoroughly.
All right.
I got a lot of that good info.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. God damn. Okay. Well, that's good info, man.
I bet you that guy likes Josie the Pussycats too.
That's good info.
Probably more than he should.
Yeah, probably a little bit more than he should. Yeah. We like it the correct way to like it. We just appreciate it for its intellectualism. We appreciate it for the attention to detail. We appreciate it for the way the music is produced and how it's accurate to the time.
The attention to detail, how they climb the weekly Billboard charts several times. They climb it several times, and then they go, "Oh, it's only been a week." So it's like they moved up the Billboard charts several times, which would have taken them 3 months. So then they're just like, "Oh, it happened in a week."
That is a funny thing. I wish the movie did more with that. The compression of time, because like you said, it all happens in 2 weeks of their life. It's a very brief time period, and I kind of wish. That was maybe they made a few more jokes about that, because that joke that you just said, it's very easy to miss that joke actually. Just because a lot of the jokes they don't draw, the funniest stuff, they do not draw a lot of attention to it, which it works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't.
Well, subtlety in cinema, Shaun. Subtlety.
Maybe someday when I could wake up. Figure out what a good.
Well, I mean, there are directors out there that maybe you'll discover one day. Try to check it. There's one called Citizen Kane. You should check out.
Yes, I've heard
this
of
movie. This movie drew a lot of inspiration from it. Okay?
Yeah,
that film is a myth. Doesn't exist. No.
Citizen Kane totally ripped off Josie and the Pussycats. I don't know how they did it, but he did it. That Orson Welles character. He's kind of a wizard.
Orson, oh well.
Trembling says Dan is going to tell Rachel about how he liked her interview as she tries to chew through the duct tape over her mouth in the back floorboard. Well, yeah.
Operative word is tries.
I got a lot of duct tape. Got that with the duck kind, the kind with the duck on it. That's how you know it's quality.
No, we got Gorilla Tape. Nobody's going nowhere. Okay.
Excellent choice. That's what I use.
Real quick, Dan, can we hear just briefly about your time with her and what that was all about?
Well, you're in the industry, Jeremy, so you understand what an NDA is.
Yes. Yeah. I do.
Okay. So I actually can't afford a lawyer, so I'd ask you to just back off. Okay.
Right.
I'll just say this. I'll give you 3 words: rocky, steamy, life-changing. Okay.
All righty.
Listen, NDAs and gentlemen do not tell tales outside of school. Like, that's just the way it goes. I mean, I appreciate that Dan has taken the Ben Shapiro, why did you fire Candace Owen tact. I just don't talk about it. I just don't talk about it. I'm not going to answer that question.
Not polite.
Not polite at all. Oh, well, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I think that kind of does it for this episode of the show. A mercifully short one. Mercifully. We usually hit 4 hours at the very least.
We did good.
I mean, if you want me to keep going, I will.
Dan, could you just start reading the booklet, please?
Yeah, right. Just do a reading. I'm going to read it in Christopher Lee's voice, though.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for checking us out. We do appreciate it. Jeremy can be found at Jeremobie. All of his stuff is in the description. Dan Profitt can also be found on YouTube. What's your new YouTube name? You change it occasionally, so I just want to make sure I give the right one out. Is it still at the Late Show?
The Late Show, and then also the NECA King 420.
NECA King 420 on YouTube and on Instagram. If you really want to stay up to date with the hot action that's going on with the NECA King, I suggest following his Instagram. It's very harrowing stuff. You know,
there may be some surprises coming from AliExpress. We don't know yet. We haven't seen, but I'm just going to say it might be getting interesting.
Listen,
and there's
the adventure continues.
And there's some of the best video listens to catch up on at work. So follow NECA King. Yeah.
I love it. Like whenever I listen to one of the NECA King videos, I have to take my headphones out.
Right.
Because Dan is just like, gonna open this toy. It's great. I love it. All right, everybody. Until next time, I'll be back Tuesday for Nightcap, and then next Thursday, I'm not sure what we're going to do. We're going to figure something out to do on the off weeks that goes to the movies. It's not there. Maybe we'll start watching movies until I get all my stuff gets deleted. We'll just say fuck it. just go for it. Like, come and get me. I got nothing for you. I got this copy of Josie and the Pussycats, though.
Do I ever?
Commodity.
Well, I'll tell you, one more thing before we go. This was all major ploy. This episode was not my goal. My goal was to get a Blu-ray of Josie and the Pussycats on Shaun's shelf, and I succeeded.
He succeeded. Dan might be getting it in the mail, actually. I might just send it to you. All right, everybody. Have a good one. We'll see you.